There is a mountainous region with rolling hills, where trees and flowers are lush and vibrant with life, known as the illusory world realm. From behind the mountains, a figure soared swiftly like a bolt of lightning. The person landed lightly on the ground, the hem of her dress fluttering to reveal a pair of slender legs. The newcomer was Feng Wu-yen, the chief guard of the Su clan palace, radiating a rich source of spiritual energy. She glanced around, sensing that this place was filled with mystical energy. Before Feng Wu-yen lay a winding path that traversed the mountain ranges, with mist enveloping the way. She murmured to herself, wondering how long she could persist in this place. Feng Wu-yen silently resolved that it was time to take her young master away from here. Hidden deep in the mountains was a small village with a few simple houses, called the Yuan village. In the yard, a rooster was wandering around searching for food, clucking a few times. Behind it, a shadowy figure raised its claws, grinning slyly. "Let's see where you think you can run to." The poor rooster was caught by a hand that tightly grasped its neck. Startled, it let out a panicked cry. Shi Xian held the now unconscious chicken in his hand, rejoicing that he no longer had to worry about what to eat today. While he was lost in his small joy, a stone thrown by someone hit Shi Xian on the head, causing him to yell out. He immediately became furious and angry. "Which bastard threw a stone at me?" A young man with a wooden stick rushed towards him, cursing. "Shi Xian, you little bastard, you stole my chicken again. Let me teach you a lesson." Realizing he had been caught, Shi Xian felt the situation was dire and prepared to escape as quickly as possible. The two began a game of cat and mouse. The young man shouted loudly, "Stop right there." But Shi Xian was not foolish enough to stop. Instead, he yelled back, "Take one, and I'll return 100 later." The young man couldn't catch up, so Shi Xian threw the stick in his hand forward. "Go die." The wooden stick hit Shi Xian squarely on the head, causing him to fall to the ground. After the chase, Shi Xian hid in a corner of the forest. His head was swollen, and he lamented how the young man from the village could be so heavy-handed, showing no regard for neighborly relations. But looking at the roasted chicken in his hands, Shi Xian quickly brushed those thoughts aside. Getting beaten was worth it. After all, I'll still have a full stomach tonight. Shi Xian took a deep breath. His mouth was watering, self-praising the deliciousness, while worrying that wild beasts might be drawn to him. He felt immense joy at the prospect of enjoying a hearty meal, oblivious to the large creature behind him, its fierce gaze fixed on him. It was a giant wild boar, its nostrils flaring, breathing heavily, and its mouth was also watering hungrily at the thought of tonight's dinner. Shi Xian trembled all over, the feeling of danger from behind gave him a foreboding sense of dread. Gathering all his courage, he turned his head, his face instantly paling in terror. The wild boar could no longer wait, it seemed as if it would swallow him whole in the next second. Shi Xian's scream for help echoed throughout the mountains and forests. He took off running. The wild boar, of course, would not let its delicious meal escape, and it chased after him. Being chased twice in one day, he couldn't help but feel that today was truly unlucky. The sharp teeth of the boar were close behind him. Shi Xian gritted his teeth, unwillingly shouting out, "Am I really going to die here today? Please, no." In the air, the figure of Feng Wu-yen flashed past his head. She blinked and landed not far away, right in front of Shi Xian. Seeing her standing there, he was quite surprised to see someone appear. He worriedly shouted a warning to Feng Wu-yen. "Danger, hurry and get out of here." She didn't move at all, standing there watching the wild boar chase closely after him. She raised a finger into the air, preparing to take action, her magnetic voice commanding, "Sit down now." Shi Xian's face was drenched in sweat from being chased for quite a long distance, his voice slightly faltering as he trembled and asked back, "Sit down." Suddenly, his foot tripped over a stone on the ground, and he lost his balance, tumbling forward. He fell flat on his back right in front of Feng Wu-yen, groaning in pain. The wild boar charged straight ahead, its large teeth appearing right before her eyes. She was not only unafraid but also reached out her finger to touch its nose, using the incantation, "Stop," to render it motionless. The wild boar was indeed frozen in place, unable to move another step. Soon after, the flesh on its head seemed to evaporate. Its white eyes were now filled with bloodshot veins. Its entire body was split in half by Feng Wuyan's magic. A large wild boar thus vanished, leaving only a piece of tooth, a few blood-stained skins, and one of its eyeballs behind. Witnessing this scene, Shi Xian was sitting on the ground. He looked as if he had just been terrified, mixed with extreme amazement to the point where he couldn't close his mouth. Feng Wuyan looked at him, calmly reassuring. "You are safe now." Shi Xian was still in shock, sweat pouring down his face as if he had just bathed. The sunlight filtered through the canopy, making the wildflowers in the forest even more vibrant. Feng Wuyan did not explain anything, urging Shi Xian to follow her away from this place, calling him young master. He got up from the ground, a confused expression on his face as he asked, "Young master? I don't know you, you must be mistaken, right?" Feng Wuyan crossed her arms and smiled as she replied, "The special aura of your identity as the prince of the Su clan cannot fool me." Shi Xian couldn't help but be surprised when he heard her words, not believing he was a prince. He rolled on the ground, laughing as if he couldn't believe it. Scammers nowadays are really full of tricks. Feng Wuyan's expression darkened slightly as she asked in a serious tone, "Scammer?" Shi Xian turned his back and walked away, waving goodbye to her. "I'm just a poor loser, you should go find someone else. Thank you for saving my life. Farewell." Seeing this, Feng Wuyan was not pleased, raised her hand, emanating spiritual energy, and scolded him. "Little guy there." Her spiritual energy surged like ropes toward Shi Xian, who was about to use his lightness skill to fly away. Her spiritual energy bound his body, suspended in the air, and he panicked, screaming loudly because he couldn't move. Feng Wuyan smirked derisively. "Obey me, and I won't go easy on you just because you're the young master." She used her spiritual energy to drag him forward. Shi Xian felt like a balloon in her hands, struggling unwillingly, "Let me down, save me." By the time night fell, the light from the moon above illuminated every corner of the forest. Shi Xian was now tightly bound with ropes, sitting by the campfire, panting and shouting loudly. "If you call me the young master, then I command you to let me go immediately." Feng Wuyan sat opposite him, showing no intention of complying. "Although you are my young master, as the chief guard of the Su clan palace, I only follow your father's orders." She explained further. "Right now, we are in the illusory world realm because your father set up the illusionary formation to protect you. Now affected by the transformation spell, we are facing a breakdown, so I must take you away from here, otherwise, if the illusory world realm collapses, your enemies will immediately discover us." Shi Xian grasped the key point in that. After listening, Shi Xian tried to stand up, agreeing to follow her out of there, along with an additional condition. Feng Wuyan asked in surprise, "What condition?" His eyes sparkled like stars in the sky as he said seriously, "I want to return to the Yuan village to say goodbye to everyone there. After all, I owe them my survival until today." Feng Wuyan pondered and replied, "Your parents were severely injured by the 4 clans, Shadow, War, Blood, and Death. Once they arranged for you, their whereabouts became unclear." Feng Wuyan also stood up. She raised her index finger to create a small ball of spiritual energy, quickly accepting Shi Xian's condition. The ball of spiritual energy flew towards Shi Xian, cutting the ropes that bound him. She crossed her arms, her tone becoming serious. "But you must return here quickly. When I arrived, the aura of the illusory world realm had leaked out, and the enemy is about to discover us." Once freed, he replied, "You don't need to worry, I will be back here soon." Meanwhile, a spatial rift appeared in the sky, and 2 bright red beams shot down. They flew parallel towards the forest outside the illusory world realm. 2 figures landed heavily on the ground, creating a loud noise. The earth and stones seemed to be drilled through, flying out from the sides. The silhouettes of En Xiaoting and a Yu clan assassin became clear after the haze created by the flying debris. En Xiaoting sensed the aura of Feng Wuyan disappearing in this illusory world realm. The Yu clan assassin bared his sharp teeth and smiled, saying, "It seems the remnants of the Su clan are hiding here." The thrill of the chase surged within En Xiaoting. She instructed her companion, then let's split up to find that survivor. Feng Wuyen is mine, remember to capture him alive. She stuck out her long, snake-like tongue, excitedly replying, don't worry, I'll only drain half of his blood, I won't let him die right away. At that moment, Shi Xian was sprinting down a path in the forest, his legs moving swiftly. He was running with a smirk on his face, saying, how naive, only a fool would go back to that place. I'm still very much awake. Yuan village soon appeared before Shi Xian. He ran ahead with a triumphant expression. I'll hide at home and see if you can find me. Suddenly, he noticed something unusual. Normally, the village should be lit up at this hour. Curious, you moved closer to assess the situation. A figure emerged from behind a pillar. A man with 2 bloody bite marks on his forehead and blood spilling from his mouth tried to warn you, hurry, run away. The man's appearance frightened Shi Xian, his eyes nearly popping out in terror as he screamed. He quickly composed himself and, seeing the blood on the man's face, asked with concern, oh, Uncle Wang, are you hurt? Before the man could respond, a hand pierced through his chest. Blood immediately sprayed out, and the man's life slowly faded away. The scene caused Shi Xian to collapse onto the ground, mouth agape, screaming in fear. The Yu clan assassin lifted the man into the air, her eyes revealing a cruel glint. She extended her snake-like tongue, eagerly lapping up the blood that splattered, laughing loudly, I need more fresh blood. Shi Xian's voice became stammering as he trembled and asked her who she was. Scattered throughout the village were the bodies drained of blood. Looking at them lying still on the ground, the terror grew stronger in his mind. The villagers have all been. It was difficult for him to utter the words, killed, as beads of sweat formed on his forehead. In the depths of her eyes, a complex emotion emerged. The Yu clan assassin, after just finishing off another victim, finally noticed Shi Xian sitting bewildered on the ground. She smiled with delight, realizing that the prey had presented itself at her doorstep without her needing to hunt it down. You have the aura of the Su clan on you, it seems you are the prince of the Su clan. Shi Xian was dazed, surprised that someone was calling him a prince, unclear about what was going through his mind. In the forest, Feng Wuyen was still sitting by the campfire waiting for him to return. Her face slightly changed as she sensed 2 auras rushing into the illusory world realm. She was about to stand up to check the situation when En Xiaoting's voice rang out from behind a nearby bush, I've found you. Feng Wuyen immediately stood up straight and turned around, shouting, who is it? En Xiaoting's figure became clear under the cold light of the moon above. She calmly greeted her, hello, Feng Wuyen. Feng Wuyen instantly became alert and questioned her, do you know me? You are the assassin sent by the 4 clans, aren't you? En Xiaoting smiled charmingly, in the Su clan palace, the chief guard Feng Wuyen is a name known to all. I am En Xiaoting of the Yu clan, here to take your life. Feng Wuyen gritted her teeth, thinking to herself, perhaps I was careless when I came here, not hiding my aura, so she was able to find the trace and follow me. I need to deal with her quickly and take Shi Xian away from this place. En Xiaoting seemed to read her thoughts through the expression on her face. She smiled casually and said, I know what you're thinking. Unfortunately, my companions are looking for Sword King, and your young master has probably already been taken away by my associates. Feng Wuyen could not have imagined such a possibility. She shouted, what? You have companions? En Xiaoting displayed an extremely confident expression, smirking as she said she would make Feng Wuyen die quickly. Immediately after, she took the initiative to attack first. She unleashed strands made from spiritual energy, looking incredibly delicate yet sharp towards Feng Wuyen. The unexpected attack caught Feng Wuyen off guard. After the strands cut through her, they were retracted back into the hands of their owner. She smugly turned back to mock her, stating that although she was the chief guard of the Lord, her strength was nothing special. It was no surprise that the Su clan was destroyed. Unfortunately for her, she had celebrated too soon. After glancing back, she discovered something unusual. What? Feng Wuyen just now was not the real Feng Wuyen, it was merely a shadow. She had used the technique of the Ying clan. Taking advantage of En Xiaoting's distraction, she appeared high above her, her gaze icy, spiritual energy radiating from her hands. Feng Wuyan did not hesitate, diving down to counterattack. Now it's my turn. And Xiaoting turned her head back, gritting her teeth, starting to regret underestimating Feng Wuyan's abilities by acting alone. She needed her companions here to defeat her. Unwilling to give up, En Xiaoting waved her hand, releasing strands of spiritual energy from her fingertips. These strands were thin and flexible, curling toward Feng Wuyan to attack. 5 chains wind line. Feng Wuyan seemed to not evade at all, confidently blocking her attack. En Xiaoting's 5 chains wind line struck directly at Feng Wuyan. Seeing this, she felt joy at having hit her. But she was once again disappointed. Feng Wuyan only needed one hand to grasp all 5 of her strands. She easily used her spiritual energy to cut them into 2 segments. En Xiaoting watched the broken threads fluttering in the air, unable to believe it, and shouted, "My 5 elements chain." Meanwhile, Feng Wuyan seized the opportunity while she was distracted and charged straight down. As she got close to En Xiaoting, she stretched out her leg and kicked her hard in the chest with great force. En Xiaoting was knocked flat to the ground, creating a loud noise in the forest, and the ground around her cracked open in all directions as if it had been overturned. Unable to withstand this blow, blood immediately gushed from En Xiaoting's mouth. Feng Wuyan coldly looked at En Xiaoting lying on the ground, blood continuously oozing from her mouth. She began to interrogate her, asking, "You, how did you know my whereabouts? Very few people know that I came to the illusory world realm. Could it be that you have an insider? If you don't speak, I will make you wish you were dead." She struggled to open her eyes to look at her voice becoming hoarse like a piece of metal that had rusted for a long time, and she smiled as she replied, "I won't tell you. You know that our clan faces consequences if we fail our mission. Let's die together." En Xiaoting laughed maniacally. She unleashed the 5 elements chain again, but not to attack Feng Wuyan. But it was to cut into oneself. At this moment, Feng Wuyan realized that she was about to hold her tongue. But it seemed too late. En Xiaoting was emitting her final burst of spiritual energy. Feng Wuyan hurriedly rushed forward to stop her from self-destructing. She still couldn't intervene in time. En Xiaoting had exhausted the last of her strength, self-destructing her spiritual energy, her body transforming into a cataclysmic explosion. In the Yuan village, Shi Xian was being choked by the remaining accomplice of En Xiaoting, lifted high. His breath was constricted, struggling to ask her identity. "Who, exactly are you?" Her expression was extremely cold as she ordered him, "Little guy, hand over the spirit maiden inheritance." All day long, Shi Xian had been encountering strangers, who spoke strange things in front of him. He gritted his teeth and replied to the assassin, I don't know what you're talking about. What is the spirit maiden inheritance?" Seeing that he refused to comply, she exerted force, and blood immediately gushed from his mouth. She advised him not to pretend not to know and to obediently follow her orders. Shi Xian truly had no idea about what she wanted him to hand over and tried to explain that she had mistaken him for someone else. "You were just an ordinary villager here and had no idea what she was talking about." From the assassin's perspective, she thought you were being tight-lipped, refusing to hand over the female spirit inheritance. To force you to bow down and surrender, she had to resort to some tricks. 2 large bats suddenly flew in from nowhere, grabbing the mother and child from the village and bringing them before Shi Xian. The assassin intended to use their lives to coerce you into handing over the item. Upon seeing the 2 people being brought in, Shi Xian exclaimed in panic, "It's Aunt Wang and her daughter." The bats dropped the pair off to one side, and the little girl clung to her mother, looking extremely frightened. "Mother, I'm scared." The assassin exploited your bond with the villagers to achieve her goal. She didn't negotiate at all but directly took action to threaten you. The assassin threw a weapon infused with spiritual energy, piercing through the chest of the mother who was comforting her daughter. She immediately fell to the ground, blood slowly spreading a large stain on her back. The little girl crawled over, both anxious and terrified, calling out loudly to wake her mother, "Mother, please wake up, mother." Shi Xian also lost his composure, watching helplessly as a close neighbor was killed without being able to do anything. Aunt Wang. He struggled to hold on to his wrist that was being choked. The resentment in his heart seemed to explode. You are a beast, you will not die peacefully. Seeing that he remained so stubborn, the assassin grew a bit impatient. Gritting his teeth, he thought it would not be easy to make the young master willingly hand over the inheritance of the spirit maiden. The assassin snapped his fingers, creating a small ball of spiritual energy, trying to force Shi Xian into a corner. It seems I need to show you what it's like. The little daughter of the Wang family knelt beside her mother, crying heartbreakingly. Mother, please don't die. Soon after, the assassin launched a hidden weapon at the girl, and her life faded away. Both mother and daughter from the Wang family were mercilessly killed, while the perpetrator stood calmly right in front of Shi Xian. Consumed by hatred, his eyes turned completely white. He would definitely not spare this beast of an assassin. This shock unleashed the hidden power within Shi Xian's body. His eyes transformed into two colors, red and blue, with a flash of power in his gaze. A pair of brilliant golden wings sprouted from his back, and his scream echoed throughout the village. Shi Xian looked at the assassin with a resentful gaze, preparing to counterattack. He squeezed tightly on the wrist that was choking him, causing her to tremble. The pain shot through her, forcing her to let go and step back. The assassin observed Shi Xian's transformation, feeling a deep sense of curiosity. Your eyes are the celestial maiden's inheritance, but what about those golden wings? At this moment, Shi Xian had nearly lost control. The hatred had completely overwhelmed his reason, with only one thought in mind: to kill the one who had ruthlessly slaughtered the entire De Yuan village. He gritted his teeth, swung his arm, and threw a punch at the assassin. She stood there, stunned. This little guy not only possesses the celestial maiden's inheritance, could this really be the legendary Su clan? Caught off guard, the assassin was hit by Shi Xian's punch, causing her head to snap to the side, blood spilling from her mouth. The force of that blow was not light, sending her flying several meters away. She crashed against a pile of rubble behind her, one side of her face swollen, letting out a painful groan. Shi Xian continued to rush forward, using his golden wings to take flight. The assassin realized she could not withstand this alone and summoned a terrifying beast to kill him. Two large bats appeared before Shi Xian. He tried to stop you, but you didn't hesitate. With just a flick of your hand, you unleashed a sharp blade infused with spiritual energy towards them. The two bats were cut in half, letting out their final cries of pain, Ngao, Ngao, Ngao. Their bodies fell straight down. Shi Xian flew over, heading straight for the assassin. Seeing the two bats defeated in the blink of an eye, she couldn't help but gasp in shock. My crisis beast, those high-level demon beasts. Shi Xian charged like a storm towards the assassin, with no way left to escape. You showed no mercy, delivering a powerful punch infused with spiritual energy to her. The assassin's eyes widened, and she screamed in pain. In the end, she had to pay with her life for the innocent beings of De Yuan village. In the forest, the flames from the explosion caused by En Xiaoting's self-detonation were raging. Feng Wuyan was surrounded by a strong current of spiritual energy. She prepared to leave to find Shi Xian after taking down En Xiaoting, hoping that her young master had not encountered the remaining assassin. Her face was illuminated by the bright moonlight, her eyes gazing into the distance. I must hurry to the village where my young master is. Saying that, she used her lightness skill to leave the forest and head towards Shi Xian. It took only a moment for her to reach the entrance of De Yuan village. Seeing the entire village shrouded in darkness, Feng Wuyan continued to search for Shi Xian, silently praying that he was safe and sound. Suddenly, she stopped, her eyes widening in disbelief as she looked ahead. In front of her stood Shi Xian, with his back turned to her. Feng Wuyan was taken aback, wondering, is this? As she approached, she could see that someone was lying slumped over a pile of rubble in front of Shi Xian. It was the remaining assassin. Noticing the severity of her injuries, Feng Wuyan guessed that the person was already dead. A question arose in her mind: could it be that my young master did this? Hearing a strange voice from behind, Shi Xian immediately turned to look, his expression unchanged. He swung his hand, launching a long-range attack towards Feng Wuyan. A series of sharp ice shards erupted from the ground, rocks and dirt flying violently. At that moment, Feng Wuyen realized something was wrong and barely managed to evade the attack. She quickly jumped to the side to avoid it, but the flying debris unfortunately grazed her chest. Feng Wuyen clutched the bleeding wound, her face showing concern. Young master seemed to have lost his senses. The golden wings. Seeing Shi Xian rushing towards her, throwing punches, a possibility sprang to her mind. Could it be the man divine body? Before he could unleash his spiritual energy to attack her, Feng Wuyen quickly jumped higher. She concentrated her spiritual energy into a small orb on the tip of her finger, temporarily incapacitating Shi Xian so he wouldn't cause chaos anymore. She shot her spiritual energy towards him, hitting him squarely. Feng Wuyan's spiritual energy targeted the third eye on Shi Xian's forehead, and his entire body seemed to freeze. The golden wings vanished, and the divine inheritance in his eyes began to be sealed away. He let out a scream and slowly descended to the ground. Shi Xian lay still as if he had fallen asleep. The powerful spiritual energy within him seemed to be drained away. Feng Wuyan held her wound and looked at Shi Xian lying on the ground, thinking to herself, the man divine body is a body left behind by the ancient Ban Gu great deity. I never expected it to be within the young master. Her expression turned grave. It is said that after awakening, the man divine body will either become a savior or a world-destroying monster. Young master is also a reluctant choice. She silently told herself that she must guide Shi Xian towards a strong path, using the power of the man divine body to restore the strength of the Su clan. After letting him sleep to regain his senses, Feng Wuyen took him back to the forest, starting a fire to spend the night there. In the sky, shooting stars sparkled as they flew by. Shi Xian's face was drenched in sweat. In his subconscious, he was still trapped in the moment he saw the people of the Yuan village being slaughtered, his mouth trembling as he pleaded, "Don't kill them." He suddenly shouted the words, "Don't," and, as if awakening from a nightmare, he sat up. Shi Xian gasped in horror from the dream. Feng Wuyen sat beside him, gently saying, "You're awake." He touched his chest, feeling his heart racing like a drum, trying to calm himself down. "I was choked unconscious by her, I don't know what happened afterward." Feng Wuyen looked at him deeply, thinking that for now, she would not mention the man divine body to avoid affecting his future cultivation. She calmly explained the situation at that time to him. "When I arrived at your village to save you from the assassin, unfortunately, everyone in the village had already been killed." Tears streamed down Shi Xian's cheeks, his voice trembling in disbelief. "Everyone is dead." The moments of villagers falling to the assassin flashed through his mind, and feelings of self-blame began to rise. "I am so useless, I couldn't save everyone." He slammed his hand down on the ground, questioning why he wasn't stronger. If he had been, he could have protected everyone, and this tragedy would not have happened. Feng Wuyen stood up straight, looking at him as he knelt on the ground in despair, and spoke, "If you want to become stronger, I will help you." Shi Xian turned his head, surprised to look at her. "Can you help me become strong?" Feng Wuyen replied confidently, "As long as you master the advanced skills of the Su clan, we will naturally become strong." She made a decision that within the next 3 months, before the illusory world realm completely collapsed, she would teach Shi Xian everything she had learned throughout her life. Shi Xian couldn't help but be astonished. 3 months. Feng Wuyen looked seriously into his eyes and replied, "That's right. After that, we will leave here. The outside world is extremely dangerous, so during these 3 months, I will teach you very strictly. You must be mentally prepared." Early the next morning, Feng Wuyen shouted loudly to wake him up to prepare for skill training. Shi Xian, still half asleep, yawned repeatedly and complained, "Why is it so early? I still want to sleep a little longer." Feng Wuyen walked ahead of him, reminding, "Time is tight. Are you confident you can learn all the skills from me in 3 months?" She looked back at him, urging him to hurry up a bit. They had a lot to learn today. Feng Wuyen took Shi Xian to a spacious empty lot, deciding that they would practice there. He rubbed his wrists and confidently said to her, "I'm ready, what should we start with?" "I've been learning Chen's second uncle's Hu Quan for a few years, so I know a little." Feng Wuyen turned to look at a large ancient tree in front of them and instructed him to use some of his skills to break it. Looking at the big tree, Shi Xian's eyes widened in disbelief, and he shouted, "Are you kidding? I'm just an ordinary person, how can I break a tree?" Unhappy with his cowardly reaction, Feng Wuyan's tone carried a hint of mockery. "If you don't even have the courage to try, how can you become strong? You are a prince of the Su clan, you have the strength of royalty within you." Hearing her words, he felt empowered, raising his fist as he approached the tree. "Alright, could it be that my royal veins can become stronger?" Shi Xian concentrated his strength into his fist, gritting his teeth with determination. He threw a direct punch at the trunk, creating a loud noise. Immediately afterward, he jumped up, rubbing his swollen, red hand. He ran in circles, complaining, "It hurts so much, what royal veins, they're completely useless." Feng Wuyan looked at him, resting her chin in thought. It seems that the young master's divine body cannot enhance the physical body in a normal state, he must start training from the basics. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it was half a month later. Inside a cave, a green light flickered within. Shi Xian was sitting inside, cultivating his spiritual roots, radiating a source of spiritual energy. His entire body was drenched in sweat as the spiritual energy gradually absorbed into his body. He looked at the stream of spiritual energy he could control in his hands, his eyes shining with joy. "Feng's sister taught me the great sun and moon yin-yang scripture, I've mastered it so well, it's so simple." He stood up, raised his hands high, laughing loudly, feeling like a genius. Feng Wuyan smiled at him from a corner of the cave, thinking to herself, "No wonder he is a descendant of the royal family. This great sun and moon yin-yang scripture usually takes an ordinary person 3 years to master. The young master has only used half a month and has already become proficient." Seeing himself drenched in sweat, Shi Xian loosened his belt to prepare for a shower. He tossed his pants aside. At this moment, Shi Xian was completely naked, happily heading to take a bath. This scene struck Feng Wuyan's eyes, and she immediately hid in a corner of the cave, her cheeks suddenly flushing with embarrassment. She felt that, as a prince, he had no sense of decorum at all. After he finished practicing his skills, she would definitely have to teach him some manners befitting a royal. Shi Xian, stark naked, suddenly remembered something and wondered why he hadn't seen Feng Wuyan around for the past few days. Just then, Feng Wuyan suddenly appeared right in front of him, startling him into a scream. He fell to the ground, his shout echoing in the cave. She looked down at him from above, her cheeks still flushed, and seriously admonished, "A practitioner must remain calm, don't be so startled like that." Shi Xian was mortified, quickly covering his private parts with his hands and panicking as he shouted loudly, "Why did you come without greeting anyone?" Feng Wuyan turned her face away and said, "I see that you have practiced your great sun and moon yin-yang sutra, and you can now continue to the next step on your own." Shi Xian, like a young girl just coming of age, jumped up because she had been secretly observing everything, thinking that she was invading her privacy. Feng Wuyan didn't want to argue with him any longer. Now that he had a foundation, he could proceed to the next stage of cultivation, which was actual combat. She closed her eyes and assigned him a task for training. In the depths of the illusory world realm, demon beasts often appear. You must go catch demon beasts to enhance your actual combat experience. Shi Xian's face immediately turned pale, and sweat began to pour down. "I have to catch demon beasts. Isn't that like walking into a death trap?" After leaving the cave, he had no choice but to obey Feng Wuyan and venture deep into the forest alone. As he walked, he mumbled, "This forest used to be where the villagers came to chop wood and hunt. I never heard of demon beasts appearing. Feng's sister isn't deceiving me, is she?" Just then, a desperate scream echoed from ahead. He looked up in surprise. "Ha!" Shi Xian turned to look into the green forest and exclaimed, "Someone is calling for help." He rushed deep into the forest. On the other side, a continuous cry echoed outside. "Help!" Shi Xian searched for the source of the sound. He suddenly stopped and was quite surprised to see a girl. Xiao Dai, her body bleeding, stammered, "Help! Help!" Shi Xian unexpectedly whispered, "It's a girl." Xiao Dai tried to suppress her pain and pleaded, "Young master, save me." He stood in front of her and asked curiously, "Miss, what happened?" Xiao Dai thought for a moment and gently explained, "I went out to play with my sister, but unexpectedly we were attacked by demon beasts." Fortunately, my sister held off the demon beasts, allowing me to escape. Shi Xian reached out his hand to check her wounds and asked, "Are you injured, miss?" Xiao Dai suddenly rushed into his arms. "Young master, I'm so scared." She hugged Shi Xian tightly and implored, "Please, young master, save my sister. I am willing to repay you with my body." He replied leisurely, "If someone is in trouble, how can I stand by and watch? Quickly take me to save your sister." Upon hearing this, Xiao Dai's expression turned joyful. "Really? Thank you, young master." She took Shi Xian's hand and led him, saying, "Follow me." Feng Wuyen stood on the tree, watching the two of them holding hands as they walked. She felt frustrated and thought, this stupid guy, who would go for a stroll in the woods? I can't believe he was so easily lured by a beautiful woman. Feng Wuyen vented her anger by punching the tree beside her. He needs to learn a bit about the ways of the world. Xiao Dai led Shi Xian to a large cave and said, "We've arrived." She pointed at the cave. Sister was captured by demon beasts and taken into that cave. He looked down, "So it's this cave. Sister, were you really captured here?" She crossed her arms and replied, "I saw it with my own eyes." Shi Xian stepped forward to take a closer look, but this cave is too deep. He examined it carefully and asked, "Should I find Feng's sister to help?" Xiao Dai chuckled softly, "Since we are already here." She revealed her true nature when she saw her prey step into the trap. Xiao Dai smiled mischievously, "Please, young hero, go inside and rescue my sister." He turned back, frowning as he replied, but, he was startled by Xiao Dai's appearance, as she was surrounded by a frightening purple aura. She pushed Shi Xian down forcefully. "Little girl will give you a hand. You were pushed with too much force and fell into the cave." Shi Xian fell freely into the dark cave, his face turning pale with panic. His body hit the bottom of the cave, causing dust to fly everywhere. Shi Xian lay motionless there to gather his thoughts. His face was scratched, his clothes were dirty, and only after a while did he realize, that girl tricked me. He was bewildered when he heard something, "There's movement." A paw of an animal reached out. Shi Xian still asked, "Who is it?" The large figure of Xiao Bai, several times bigger than him, stepped out. It looked at him with fiery eyes. Sweat dripped from his forehead as he stammered in panic, "Monster, monster." Xiao Bai growled, opening its mouth to reveal sharp teeth as if wanting to devour Shi Xian alive. He immediately took a step back. He looked at it with cold, sharp eyes, gritting his teeth and said, "How dare you? I came to exterminate monsters, why should I be afraid? If you're capable, come here." Hearing the challenge, Xiao Bai moved forward to attack Shi Xian. Its hand slammed down on the ground, creating a loud noise. He nimbly dodged its attack. Xiao Bai's ears stood up, its eyes rolled back in disbelief. Shi Xian jumped up, creating a stream of purple energy. "Let me show you the power of my great sun and moon yin-yang scripture." Shi Xian pushed back to gain momentum and shouted loudly, "Die." He threw it forcefully forward. Xiao Bai pushed it aside with his hand. He fell quickly. The force was so strong that dust flew everywhere, creating a gray haze. Shi Xian landed on the ground with his hands, breathing a sigh of relief. He frowned in anger. The great sun and moon yin-yang sutra can't even defeat demon beasts. It approached, facing Shi Xian, revealing its sharp teeth. Xiao Bai growled, thinking and searching for a way. "I must become strong, I can't easily die here. I must kill this demon beast." Shi Xian jumped up, using his technique, "Let's take a risk." In another scene, Xiao Dai anxiously looked down and said, "Is he okay?" Behind her, Feng Wuyen asked, "What's happening down there?" Xiao Dai turned her head in confusion, "Huh?" She knelt down upon realizing it was Feng Wuyen. "Greetings, master." She immediately inquired about the situation, "How is it down there?" She gently replied, "It seems that Xiao Bai is not facing an opponent." Feng Wuyen turned away and instructed, "If the young master is in life-threatening danger, you must rescue him immediately." Xiao Dai replied, "Yes, master." Behind the two people, a large object soared up very quickly. Xiao Bai flew very high, then fell to the ground with great force, causing smoke to rise everywhere. Xiao Bai lay motionless, tongue out. Xiao Dai exclaimed in panic, Xiao Bai. She approached, touched him, and asked, "Are you okay?" From below, Shi Xian climbed up, his body covered in wounds. Shi Xian struggled to say, "Now you know how powerful I am." Face to face, Feng Wuyan and he looked at each other. He asked, "Oh, how come you are here?" She scratched her face, "Let me explain." Shi Xian puffed his cheeks, "What is this? It turns out you all are in cahoots, daring to attack me so severely." The four of them stood together. She knelt down and explained, "Young master, I am truly sorry, it was all to enhance your cultivation abilities." Xiao Dai shyly said, "If the young master is still angry, then let me use my body to compensate for you." Shi Xian waved his hand and replied, "No need, I forgive you." Feng Wuyan crossed his arms, "This tiger is a demon beast that has broken through to the original breath realm. You defeated him so quickly, it seems your cultivation can proceed to the next level of practical training." Shi Xian replied seriously, "These days my training has been effective. It feels like there is an endless amount of power within me." Xiao Bai, with a cute expression, listened attentively. "From now on, they will train with you in real combat. You must treat each other well." Xiao Dai knelt beside him and introduced herself, "Young master, my name is Xiao Dai. This tiger is Xiao Bai. Please guide us, young master." Yi Xian smiled, "I will trouble you two from now on." He darted through the trees like the wind. Xiao Bai chased after him, pouncing towards Shi Xian. Shi Xian laughed and turned back, saying, "Xiao Bai, you've been tricked." He spun around, creating a pink light and shouted, "Look at this." Xiao Bai was caught by Shi Xian's trick and flew far away. Xiao Dai stood behind Shi Xian, laughing and shooting out 2 pieces of red cloth from her sleeves, "Young master, be careful." He panicked, not knowing what was happening. Shi Xian was bound by the 2 pieces of cloth. "This is not good." Xiao Dai laughed loudly, "I've caught the young master now." Shi Xian broke free from the cloth. She landed on the ground. "I was almost able to master the mystical technique." From behind, Shi Xian rushed forward, "Don't let your guard down." He used his technique to sneak attack Xiao Dai from behind. Xiao Dai turned around, facing the blow from him. He stopped in front of Xiao Dai's face with a very startled expression. She was still dazed, the wind was blowing very strongly. Shi Xian smiled, clenched his fist, "How about this move?" Xiao Dai exclaimed in amazement, "Young master, you are truly impressive." She rushed to hug Shi Xian tightly, "Young master, I will serve you for a lifetime." From the tree, Feng Wuyan looked down at the two of them, "All right, let go, I still need to cultivate." Feng Wuyan pursed her lips in thought. The young master had broken through to the late stage of the primordial energy realm in such a short time, and his ability to protect himself would not be a problem in the future. Many cracks appeared in the sky. She looked up, there are many cracks in the sky, the illusory world realm is about to collapse. It's time to take the young master out of here. I hope the emperor in the heavens can protect the young master safely. The sky darkened, and a blue lightning bolt struck the ground. From within it, a man appeared. Lianjun stepped out of the lightning, squinting his eyes, and said, "This illusory world realm is very well concealed. If it weren't for the cracks, it would be impossible to find any traces." Seeing the danger, Feng Wuyan quickly shouted loudly, "An attack has occurred." She quickly took off. Without any fear, she dashed straight into the area filled with storm clouds. In Feng Wuyan's heart, all she cared about was Shi Xian. She had to get the young master out of there immediately. Xiao Dai stood at a distance, observing the situation. She understood what was happening, so she gently said, Then Xiao Dai turned to ask Xiao Bai, who was standing beside her, "Xiao Bai, you feel it too, right? Someone has broken in here." He also voiced his agreement, "Woof woof." Somewhere, Shi Xian lay exhausted in the middle of the meadow. He was breathing heavily, drenched in sweat. "The final level is really hard to break through, I need to rest for a few days." But then he quickly sat up, encouraging himself, "No, I must quickly break through to the original breath realm and reach a new realm." With that thought in mind, he was determined to gather his strength. "I cannot slack off." Suddenly, a voice rang out from behind, startling him into stopping. The Great Sun and Moon Yin-Yang Sutra, it seems you have comprehended it to a small success. Shi Xian turned around in panic, looking at Lien Zhen who was standing there, glaring at him. Shi Xian felt a bit wary and asked, "Who are you? How do you know the name of the skill I am practicing?" Lien Zhen, unfazed, asked back. "Are you the prince of the Su clan?" Hearing the other party mention his name, Shi Xian stood up in fear. He stepped back, puzzled. "Do you know me? May I ask who you are?" Without wasting time with lengthy introductions, Lien Zhen briefly introduced himself, "Lien Zhen of the Zhan clan, here to take your life." Then, he unleashed a surge of lightning power that paralyzed Shi Xian's entire body. Immediately after, he was knocked away by Lien Zhen, with dust and smoke rising all around. Shi Xian had not yet recovered, so he could not retaliate, lying still and enduring the attack. He cast a hateful glance at Lien Zhen and gritted his teeth in irritation. "Damn it, another assassin." In the distance, Lien Zhen slowly approached, smiling provocatively. "You are still alive, your life force is quite resilient." But right after that, he raised his hand to the sky to absorb power and challenged him. "However, with this move, you won't be so lucky." A source of lightning with immense power was immediately summoned. Suddenly, Xiao Bai appeared from nowhere behind Lien Zhen, threatening him. Noticing something unusual, he became distracted and wondered, "What?" Xiao Bai rushed forward, opening its mouth wide to engulf Lien Zhen, trying to stop the lightning power. But it was powerless to do so. The energy from the lightning was so strong that Xiao Bai could only lie there and endure all the attacks. After the energy dissipated, only Xiao Bai, covered in injuries, remained there, unable to resist any longer. From a distance, Shi Xian, also injured, painfully called out, "Xiao Bai." Lien Zhen felt no pity. He coldly mocked, "The two fools from the Yin clan and the Shui clan have completely lost their aura, they must have been dealt with. Indeed, we cannot underestimate the remnants of the Su clan." Saying this, he looked into the distance where the lightning continued to strike. Lien Zhen realized, the space is about to shatter, I must accelerate. From the cliff, Feng Wu Yan also sensed that something bad was happening and suddenly shouted, "Not good." From afar, countless poison darts flew in from nowhere. They pierced through Lien Zhen, leaving him no time to react. At this moment, Xiao Dai landed nearby. She turned to look at Lien Zhen and confidently boasted, "My red phoenix darts are extremely poisonous." Immediately, Lien Zhen's entire body turned green due to the lightning. Then, he vanished. Xiao Dai, seeing the scene before her, panicked and realized, it's a clone illusion. Lien Zhen suddenly appeared behind Xiao Dai. He laughed arrogantly, mocking, "Ants." Without wasting time, he used a lightning bolt to strike Xiao Dai, causing her to cry out in pain. Lien Zhen showed no mercy, throwing her straight to the ground. He even mocked, "It's a pity that those who sacrifice themselves to save you, no matter what they do, are useless." At this moment, Shi Xian stood up in anger, shouting loudly, "Stop talking nonsense, if you want to kill, then kill." Hearing the provocative challenge, Lien Zhen responded with a direct lightning strike aimed at him, saying, "Now let's see who will come to save you." Shi Xian could only stand there. It seemed he was about to take the full brunt of the attack when unexpectedly, Feng Wu Yan appeared from nowhere, blocking it and protecting him. "Be careful." She raised her hand to deflect the incoming lightning strike, but her strength was only enough to redirect the attack elsewhere. Lien Zhen recognized her at once. Feng Wu Yan, it really is you." After blocking the previous attack, Feng Wu Yan felt a bit of pain. She glared at him in annoyance, "So it's Lien Zhen, one of the 7 stars of the Zhan clan. The traitorous 4 clans have finally sent someone to play around." Lien Zhen stood there provoking her, "It seems that the Shui clan and Yin clan sent useless people who all died at your hands. If it weren't for this space about to shatter, I wouldn't be able to find you even in the destructive universe." Not wanting to waste time, Feng Wu Yan quickly looked at Shi Xian and ordered, "We are no match for him. Soon, I will hold him back, and you must leave here immediately." But he still had many questions. "Leave here? But I..." Realizing the group's escape plan, Lien Zhen tried every way to stop them. "You all should perish along with this space." Immediately after, he laughed loudly and summoned a barrage of lightning that continuously struck down. Shi Xian felt the tremors and fearfully shouted, "Earthquake." Feng Wuyen calmly explained beside him, "This space is about to shatter. If we don't leave now, there will be no place left to bury ourselves." She quickly summoned her power. The spatial rift in the sky revealed countless time holes. Seeing this scene, Lian Zhen angrily muttered, "Spatial rift." He was determined to hold the group back to the end, summoning lightning power, "Don't even think about escaping." Since Shi Xian was injured all over, he was escorted to move out of here, but he anxiously asked, "Feng sister, what are you planning to do?" Feng Wuyen used her power to manipulate the light, "Hurry and leave here. I will take you to the illusory world realm." After that, he was taken near the time rift to escape. Transferred quickly, Shi Xian screamed in fear. Lian Zhen stood watching from a distance, angrily stopping him, "Leaving here is not that easy." He leaped up, blocking all of Yi Xian's escape routes. Seeing him, Shi Xian panicked and became cautious. Lian Zhen played with him like a cat with a mouse. He mocked him, "Goodbye." Seeing the unstable situation, Shi Xian could only pray, "This is bad." Suddenly, red threads appeared from nowhere, wrapping around Lian Zhen, catching him off guard. "Huh?" He looked up and saw Xiao Dai was the one who acted, making him grit his teeth in anger. "You again, you're still alive." Xiao Bai was still alive as well, rushing towards Lian Zhen. He was now captured. Xiao Bai held him tightly in his mouth. Despite being covered in wounds, Xiao Dai returned to remind him, "Young master, you must escape from here." She gently said her farewell, "Farewell." At this moment, Shi Xian was being controlled and couldn't do anything. He anxiously ordered, "You all run away, hurry." Lian Zhen was extremely angry because he was captured. He shouted loudly, "Aunt, don't interfere with my business." Then he quickly regained his strength and freed himself. The powerful source of energy caused Xiao Dai to scream in pain. Xiao Bai was also injured but still tried to rush forward to protect everyone with his thick fur. At that moment, Shi Xian was completely useless, only able to watch everyone and scream in agony, "Xiao Dai! Xiao Bai!" It didn't take long for Lian Zhen to launch a powerful lightning bolt towards him, cursing, "It's your turn now." The attack flew swiftly towards Shi Xian. Suddenly, Feng Wuyen flew in from a distance, just in time to block the attack. She took the hit directly with her body, which harmed her health, and she even coughed up blood. Standing behind her, Shi Xian anxiously called out, "Sister Feng." Feng Wuyen was severely injured, her strength depleted, but she still tried to protect him. Lian Zhen was furious, irritated by the constant interference. Feng Wuyen, it's you again." Despite being injured to the point of spitting blood, Feng Wuyen gently instructed him, "Quickly leave this place. From now on, you have to go alone." Saying that, she threw Shi Xian towards the space gap. She gathered her last bit of energy, "You must live well." Though she was in immense pain. But Shi Xian could only helplessly scream, "Sister Feng." Right after that, Shi Xian was moved to safety through a spatial rift. Lian Zhen stood watching from afar, furious, cursing, "Damn it, stop right there." Then he rushed towards Feng Wuyen to take revenge. Feng Wuyen understood her situation now. She calmly used her magic, "It seems I must die here." Then she used all her strength to fight Lian Zhen in a life-or-death struggle, "Then let you all die with me in this illusory world realm." Lian Zhen's body was restrained, he gritted his teeth, "Damn it." The sphere grew larger, accumulating more spiritual energy, slowly engulfing an entire territory. When it reached its peak, the sphere exploded, creating a sky full of light. A moment later, Shi Xian lay on a desolate grassy hill. He woke up with a sharp pain, wondering, "Am I still alive?" Shi Xian turned his head to the right, exclaiming, "Huh!" He panically widened his eyes. In the distance, a familiar figure. This is... Upon closer inspection, he recognized Feng Wuyen. Shi Xian immediately flew over, shouting, "Sister Feng." When he arrived, he saw Feng Wuyen's body covered in wounds. She gently opened her eyes and said reassuringly, "Young master, it's good that you are fine." Shi Xian, despite being in a disheveled state herself, was more concerned about Feng Wuyen. You are seriously injured, you need to heal immediately. I will transfer spiritual energy to you. Although someone was offering to help her, she quietly refused. It's pointless, I have used all my life force to destroy the illusory world realm and seal the engine inside it. I am about to fade away, so don't waste your spiritual energy. Feng Wuyen took out a ring and handed it to Shi Xian. This void ring is for you, it contains the skills and various secret books of the Su clan. You just need to use your thoughts to access them. She handed it over, leaving him flustered. Remember, with your current cultivation, you must not let anyone else know you have this item. Feng Wuyen closed his eyes and gently instructed, if I die, my divine soul will remain there. If one day you can become a great power, you can recreate my body and bring me back to the mortal realm. Immediately after, her body began to dissolve into purple souls. Goodbye, young master, I look forward to the day you become a strong peak level. Shi Xian regretfully watched the souls drift into the ring. Feng, Sister Feng. Stammering, Shi Xian cried bitterly after absorbing the soul into the ring. The ring then fell into his hand. He clutched the ring tightly to his chest, sitting down in solitude. I will definitely become a strong peak level. The vows made today will be like a knife carved deep in my heart, ensuring that you will come back to life. Half a year later, in a barren land, Luo Er was panting heavily from the scorching heat. As she leaned on her staff and took each step, she suddenly noticed a few streaks of light in the sky that made her curious. From the sky, a group of bandits fell near her. They landed with their swords drawn. The cunning leader pointed at Luo Er and said, I didn't expect someone to come looking for us, and it's a girl at that. It seems today's harvest is not bad. Luo Er calmly leaned on her staff and asked loudly, you are the bandits from Panju, right? She grasped her cloak, her face fierce as she said, I have been looking for you for a long time. Luo Er then pulled back her cloak. Her image as a strong female warrior, unafraid of heaven and earth, resembled that of a hero. You harmed the people across the 4 continents and robbed merchants. Today, I, this young lady, will punish you. He looked at Luo Er's body and exclaimed, oh wow, amazing. What caught his attention was her round, firm breasts. Both the subordinates, master and servant, gasped, even getting nosebleeds. Looking closely, she is indeed a great beauty. Then a soldier suddenly pulled out a sharp knife. He licked his lips as if he wanted to devour Luo Er alive, grinning wickedly, hee, watch me tear her clothes apart for everyone to enjoy. Hearing this, Luo Er frowned, not bad for a death wish. It seems I no longer need to show any mercy. With that, she drew her sword. Today, I must take revenge for the innocent people of the 4 provinces that you have killed. Luo Er charged forward, surprising the robbers who were confused and bewildered. They asked each other, what is happening? The majority of the robbers had been killed, and the screams echoed loudly. After finishing the job, she sheathed her sword and stated firmly, they deserve to die. Luo Er was resolute, next, I will flatten their hideout. She quickly arrived at the robbers' camp. Luo Er walked around the camp but did not see a single person. At this moment, she began to wonder and whisper. Why is there no one here? The villagers around here have at least a few dozen bandits. Suddenly, she heard a noise. In the distance, there was someone standing there. There's someone. Luo Er drew her sword, ready to eliminate the last bandit. Indeed, there are still some left. She dashed over, swinging her sword. Her feet moved as quickly as lightning towards the front. Luo Er shouted angrily, die, bandit. Shi Xian, halfway through a piece of bread, turned his head in confusion, The sword swooped down, striking right between his head. His mouth was still chewing the piece of bread, startled. Shi Xian stood up, almost losing his small life. Luo Er's sword showed no mercy. What are you doing? Missing the first strike, Luo Er aimed for a second one. Her sword movement was so precise that not even a mosquito could escape. Miss, is there a misunderstanding? Luo Er had no intention of listening to any explanation, charging forward to attack. Shi Xian still tried to explain to Luo Er, what bandit? I was just passing by looking for some food. Luo Er did not believe him and retorted, do you think I would believe your nonsense? If you can withstand my strike, you must definitely be one of them. Shi Xian began to feel awkward and replied, if you don't stop, I will have to fight back. Then his foot hit a rock behind him, and that fall startled Shi Xian. Oh, great, I just fell and hit my head. Shi Xian lay sprawled on the ground. Luo Er stopped his sword and probed him, is he dazed? Dawn had also broken at the bandits' camp. Shi Xian sat helplessly as Luo Er tied his hands. Kidnapped again, this doesn't feel good at all. Luo Er was still suspicious and questioned, quickly tell me, where did your accomplices go? Shi Xian sat there helplessly and countered, what? Accomplices? Are you saying this place is the bandits' hideout? But I'm not one of them. I was just passing through, they tried to rob me, and I scared them off. Luo Er angrily struck his sword, you must be joking. I've heard the leader of the bandits is a cultivator, how could you easily defeat him? Shi Xian thought deeply about Feng's sister's advice. Feng's sister said I must not reveal my cultivation status, or the enemy will discover it. Then he half-jokingly replied to Luo Er. It could be because we are born with divine powers, haha. Luo Er, hearing this, was half convinced and half skeptical. She replied in a cold tone, I don't know if you're telling the truth or lying, so I'll leave you to the villagers to handle. Shi Xian was suddenly pulled away by Luo Er with a thud. Ouch! She urged him to hurry up, let's go quickly, we need to reach the village before dark. The one in front held a sword, while the one behind was tightly bound. Shi Xian still tried to explain his situation to her. Can you untie the rope for me before we go? I really just passed through here. But Luo Er didn't believe him. She reminded him, you can explain that to the villagers. Above, on the mountaintop, a guy dressed in a chicken costume was standing over a group of younger ones. The leader stood there observing everything. Suddenly, the one who had been defeated by Shi Xian said, Boss, you must take revenge for us. The boss clenched his fist, looking surprised as if he couldn't believe his ears, and asked again, the one who injured you was that guy? He looks quite young. Seeing the situation below, the subordinate grimaced and replied, the one who attacked us is that little guy. Strange, why is he being dragged away with his hands tied? Aren't they from the same group? Hearing that, the leader grabbed the robber by the collar, lifted him slightly, and said angrily, you truly are a useless person. It hasn't been long since I left seclusion, and yet my disciples have let things get to this point. The cold wind blew through the edges of the leader's cloak, his gaze sweeping over the subordinate and the dazed faces behind him. He frowned slightly, his voice booming, each word like a hammer. You were defeated by a little guy who hasn't even wiped his nose clean. I was in seclusion training, yet I have to help you clean up this mess. No one dares to look me in the eye. The subordinate trembled, straightened up, his voice barely above a whisper as if he was about to cry. I'm sorry, boss. A cold, evil energy suddenly spread out, causing the ground to crack and the air to feel frozen. The leader took a step forward, his cloak fluttering slightly. His voice resonated, deep and heavy enough to shake the entire space. Then I will make him understand the terrifying power of a cultivator. In the scorching midday sun, the two continued walking without taking a break. Shi Xian walked behind, his face dotted with sweat, continuously murmuring, I said we've come this far, can we take a break? Luo Er frowned at this and replied, you said you wanted to defeat the robbers. We've only gone a little way and you're already asking for a break. As if sensing something, Shi Xian asked, huh? On the other side, she did not stop. Is that so? Luo Er held a rope to bind Shi Xian in one hand and a sword in a defensive stance in the other. Something's happened, as if summarizing everything, she called out to the boss who was standing nearby, stop hiding, come out here quickly. The ground began to shake violently. Luo Er stood firm with her sword on one side, while on the other side, a tall soldier was getting up. The crowd looked at Luo Er with hatred in their eyes, then gritted their teeth and growled, you injured our people and want to leave? Hand over your life. Luo Er did not back down, she gently lifted her sword. Her voice rang out, so it turns out you are the bandits. I've been looking for you for a long time. The bandit stuck out his tongue, his fierce face twisted. He took a step back but still tried to shout, "This time our boss is coming, you're definitely dead." Luo Er was furious, her previously calm gaze now shining with a desire to fight them. "Who are you calling little guy? Do I look like a man?" Luo Er took a step forward, her whole being transforming into a whirlwind, and she shouted loudly, "Open your eyes wide and see this lady clearly." Shi Xian over here looked pale. They are right about us. The three bandits over there were fierce, while Luo Er swung her sword as if she wanted to devour them all. Her sword moves were so swift that the three of them still didn't understand what was happening. Luo Er darted through the crowd like lightning, making it very difficult to even spot her. Just like that, they all fell under Luo Er's hands. Wow! After finishing, she glanced at the three who had just been defeated. She winked and looked at Shi Xian. "Your companions came to save you, but unfortunately, their strength is too weak." Shi Xian turned pale, his face full of helplessness. "Oh dear, don't misunderstand." Behind her, the ground suddenly shook violently. Luo Er turned around, rocks were flying, and she stood in front of the stones that were coming towards her from nowhere. Still more. Suddenly, a group of bandits appeared out of nowhere, flying towards her. Shi Xian saw the urgent situation and became worried. "Oh no, with so many of them, she can't handle it alone." He quickly untied all the ropes to prepare for a heroic rescue to help her a little. Realizing something strange, he suddenly stopped. "Huh, what is that?" Luo Er stood tall, her sword aimed directly at the golden orb. She shouted, "Heavenly profound chi, piercing slash." Coldly, she swung her sword, the blade moving like a brilliant golden ribbon. Ah! The light from the sword flared intensely, dazzling the bandits. One of the bandits froze, exclaiming, "Ouch!" Corpses lay strewn across the battlefield, and once again, they were defeated by Luo Er. Wow! Shi Xian frowned in astonishment. This truly is a brutal blood rain. She is a cultivator. Luo Er watched as the group fell like leaves from the sky. The leader gritted his teeth in anger and shouted, "Damn it, you've killed all my subordinates, I will make you pay for this." He clenched his fists, staring intently at the woman in front of him. "You are also a cultivator, I must see how strong you really are." Luo Er didn't wait for him to strike, she swung her sword first, saying, "There are still fish that slip through the net." However, the leader did not dodge or counterattack but simply stood and waited. Just as the blade approached, he effortlessly grasped the sharp edge of the sword with his bare hand. He glared at her as if looking at a little bird flapping its wings. A moment later, the blade in the leader's hand slowly transformed into a mass of impurities and then gradually crumbled away. Luo Er shouted angrily, "Has my sword turned into mud?" Finally, the sword completely vanished from her hand. Luo Er then realized, "It's a spell, you are a cultivator." She gritted her teeth, her eyes looking at the man with more caution. "It seems you are the leader of the bandits," he said with a smirk. "Little girl, if you are also a cultivator, then we will use the dual method of cultivators." Then, the leader clenched his fist, and a surge of dark power surrounded him. Immediately, 3 stone pillars shot up from the ground, causing debris to fly everywhere. He directed them towards Luo Er, preparing to attack, leaving her stunned. They continuously attacked, but Luo Er was quick on her feet and managed to dodge, only able to mutter in frustration, "He can control the power of the 5 elements." Luo Er frowned, throwing several stone pillars that kept shooting up from the ground to attack, exhausting her. "Is this over yet?" Luo Er jumped just as one of them swiped past her. She leaped high to keep a safe distance from the stone pillars. Below, the leader continued to laugh heartily. "What's wrong, little girl? Without a weapon, are you just going to run away?" She landed on a stone pillar, angrily shouting, "Damn it." Luo Er jumped again, but this time she charged toward the leader. "Don't underestimate me." She lifted one leg, her face clearly showing her annoyance. The guy was caught off guard and could only gape. Then came a direct kick to his face. In her rage, perhaps the last kick was not light, causing a lot of blood to spurt from his nose. At that moment, Luo Er finally smiled with satisfaction. A perfect hit, now let's see if you die. But just then, the leader's hand shot up at an almost invisible speed. His hand grabbed Luo Er's neck, surprising her completely. The leader laughed triumphantly. You are so naive. His gaze turned fierce, staring at her, obediently turned into mud. Luo Er's neck gradually transformed into mud, spreading up to her face, and she screamed in pain. At that moment, he had clenched his fist, covered in power, ready to swing it down with considerable pressure. Go die. Just then, a hand gently touched his wrist. The leader angrily turned and growled, Who? Shi Xian coldly lowered his head, unable to see his expression clearly. As soon as the guy caught sight of him, he shouted, It's you, little guy. The boy slightly curled his lips and softly asked, Why did you strike so hard at a weak girl like that? The leader turned to look at Shi Xian. Let go of me. He threw Luo Er aside, causing her to grit her teeth in pain. As soon as she hit the ground, Luo Er clutched her throat and coughed continuously. Meanwhile, the leader, furious, prepared to strike Shi Xian. Let go of my hand. Before the leader could make a move, Shi Xian's leg had already swung out. A kick straight to his stomach left him stunned. The leader immediately spat out a mouthful of bright red blood. Before he could react, Shi Xian was ready to unleash his next move. Great Sun and Moon Yin Yang Classic, first level. He simply reached out his hand towards him, and a powerful force struck the leader's body, sending him flying off the ground. After that, the leader was propelled nearly 100 meters away without being able to counter. It was only when he crashed into a large rock behind him, creating a huge explosion, that he finally came to a stop. He lay motionless among the shattered rocks and dirt. Shi Xian looked on with a bored expression. Can't handle a punch. You disappoint me greatly. At this moment, Luo Er had stopped coughing, astonished after witnessing the previous scene. Just one move. Who exactly is he? She rubbed her chin and muttered, the magic no longer works. Shi Xian smiled gently as he approached. Miss, are you alright? Luo Er then changed her attitude and happily called out, Senior, thank you for your help. He was taken aback, Senior. She clasped her hands together and respectfully continued, I was rude before, I hope you can forgive me, Senior. Shi Xian smiled brightly but felt very awkward, actually, I'm just an ordinary person. He then lowered his eyes and thought to himself, I just used the Great Sun and Moon Yin Yang Sutra, it's hard to disguise it now. Shi Xian pretended to cough a few times to regain his composure. I was sent by my master to the mortal realm for training, I cannot disclose my cultivation level, I hope you can keep it confidential, Mississippi. Luo Er smiled happily, don't worry, I won't tell anyone. May I ask where you plan to go next, Senior? He replied, where to? Right now I'm traveling in all directions, I still don't know where to go next. Hearing this, she became even more delighted. Senior, training in all directions, why not join our Heavenly Net Tao Academy? Shi Xian paused for a moment and asked her, Heavenly Net Tao Academy? Luo Er looked at him with determination and a hint of pride about the place she just mentioned. Heavenly Net Tao Academy is one of the 4 great Tao sects in the Cultivation Alliance, which usually recruits disciples from various clans every year. I am a disciple of the Li family in Yanbei, preparing to register at Heavenly Net Tao Academy. Her voice continued softly, the Li family has 5 qualified candidates for registration this year, so giving one to you is no problem. After hearing this, Shi Xian fell silent and thought, if I can get into a major sect, then the 4 rebel clans will definitely find it hard to track me down, and I can safely cultivate and enhance my cultivation. He gently closed his eyes in acceptance, alright, anyway, I have nowhere else to go, I will reluctantly join you in entering Heavenly Net Tao Academy. Luo Er was immediately delighted, really? That's great. She clenched her fists excitedly, with a senior joining the assessment for the academy, you will definitely pass. Shi Xian then realized, so it's because of the assessment. Luo Er turned to look at him, we can't delay, there are only 10 days left until the assessment for the academy starts, let's head to Heavenly Net Tao Academy now. Shi Xian took a deep breath and said, it seems we need to prepare food and water for 10 days in advance. He also smiled at Luo Er. Besides, we are not much different in age, so don't call me senior. I am sure Yi Xian, just call me a Xian from now on. After saying that, he turned and walked away. Let's set off then. She happily followed behind. In the light of the setting sun, the shadow of the woman running behind was chattering as she introduced herself. By the way, not senior, a Xian, I am Li Luo Er, the daughter of the patriarch of the Li family in Yanbei. Sure, Yi Xian replied softly, then I will call you Luo Er. At the Heavenly Net Dao Academy, a place where cultivators are closely gathered, behind it are layers of mountains. In the elite inner courtyard, a woman was sitting at a wooden table, intently looking at the documents in her hand. Mingyi slightly lowered her eyes and sighed. This year is again the disciples of these families, she said with disappointment. The disciples entering the academy in recent years are not as good as in previous years. What will happen at the 4 Academy Martial Arts competition next year? Just then, the door opened, and a white-haired woman outside called out loudly, "Hey, senior sister." Mingyi did not look back but softly replied, "Huh. This is Heavenly Net Dao Academy," with Grand Elder Guyu Yi Xiong speaking, her voice laced with displeasure. "I just passed by the main hall. The new disciples, barely any spiritual energy, no apparent talent whatsoever. If this continues, our Heavenly Net Dao Academy will be completely overshadowed by the other 3 academies." Mingyi furrowed her brows and closed her eyes. "You think I don't know that? But those noble families, backed by powerful forces, even as the headmaster, I still have to give them face." Yi Xiong, clearly indifferent and arrogant, replied, "You still haven't changed your soft-hearted ways. If I were the headmaster, I would have already purged those other academies." Mingyi slammed the table and stood up abruptly. "You're not wrong. I've been far too lenient. Right now, the overall strength of our new disciples lags far behind those of the other academies." With eyes filled with determination, she declared, "First, we'll select key disciples to focus our resources on. Then, we'll make it clear to those noble families that they can't just shove any ordinary, talentless brat into our Dao Academy." She pointed and ordered, "Yi Xiong, I'm placing you in full charge of this round's disciple selection. You'd better do it well." Yi Xiong raised an eyebrow and asked, "You're entrusting this to me?" But then she accepted the order without hesitation. "Very well. But I won't be going easy on these new recruits." At Heavenly Net Dao Academy, a grand and majestic cultivation site, Luo Er cheerfully exclaimed, "We have arrived." She excitedly introduced, "This is Heavenly Net Dao Academy." Luo Er walked ahead, "Let's go inside to register." Sure, Yi Xian softly replied, Suddenly, a voice rang out from behind, causing her to pause. "Isn't that Li Luo Er?" Luo Er turned around cautiously and saw a group of people. "Who?" The one in the middle smirked slightly as she quickly recognized him, Xia Yunfei. Sure, Yi Xian, standing to the side, asked, "Do you know each other?" Luo Er nodded slightly. Yunfei closed his fan and looked at her with an unfriendly gaze. "I didn't expect to see you here. You are also here to participate in the selection of disciples for Heavenly Net Dao Academy." He stepped closer and lifted Luo Er's chin with his fan. "Initially, you rejected the marriage proposal from the Xia family. I will never forget this." She angrily swatted the fan away, her expression clearly displeased but still polite. "Please show some respect. Don't think that just because you are from the Xia family, you can bully others." He paid little attention to her, instead laughing loudly, "In the future, when we are in the same academy, I will make you kneel before me to be conquered." At this moment, Yunfei noticed Sure Yi Xian beside him. "Oh," he continued to sneer, "you're with this beggar-looking guy? Or did you bring him here to be your tea-serving servant?" Luo Er gritted his teeth and scolded, "This bastard can't insult my friend." But Sure Yi Xian, the one being insulted, stopped him. "Luo Er, just let it go." He smiled lightly, although his words were filled with disdain. Looking at him, he probably only got here because of his family's powerful connections. His strength might not even pass the assessment, so we don't need to get angry with him. This remark successfully provoked Yunfei. "Little guy, what did you say?" Luo Er turned to smile awkwardly at him, honestly interjecting, "Actually, I also came here thanks to my family's connections." Yi Xian scratched his cheek, "Looks like I've misunderstood my teammate. Then, both of them ignored Yun Fei and turned to walk inside. Let's go inside. Forget about him. Yeah. He clenched his fists, angrily cursing, damn it. Yun Fei still stood behind, furious and growling, daring to look down on me. He ordered his subordinates behind him, teach that little guy a lesson for me. They immediately received the order and replied in unison, yes. The three of them flew up high at the same time, ready to take action against Shi Xian and Luo Er. He let out a helpless sigh, as if very reluctant. You forced me to take action. I originally intended to hold back a bit. A few seconds later, Yun Fei's subordinates were defeated in the blink of an eye, completely unable to retaliate. Once it was over, Shi Xian brushed his hands off and softly said, I went a bit heavy-handed, sorry about that, gentlemen. Yun Fei, witnessing the scene, couldn't help but gasp, what? My bodyguards are all top-tier experts, who on earth are you? He angrily tightened his grip on the fan in his hand, power radiating around him like a burning fire. A bunch of useless people, I still have to take action myself. Luo Er, feeling a bit worried, rushed over to warn, be careful, this Xia Yun Fei has mid-stage original breath realm cultivation. Shi Xian smiled confidently, don't worry, he can't do anything to me. Yun Fei launched an attack, his fan enveloped by a green energy, take this. The power shot like lightning towards Shi Xian from a distance, but he simply dodged it lightly, successfully avoiding a blow that crashed violently into the ground. Yun Fei continued to unleash his attacks in frustration. Yet Shi Xian was still able to dodge with just a few steps, as if she were dancing. Moreover, she commented on each blow, too slow, can you be a bit faster? At this moment, Yun Fei was somewhat exhausted, unable to land a single hit on her opponent. Damn it, I can't hit her. Suddenly, he yelled out, and countless green lights burst forth from his hands. They launched an all-out attack, causing the surrounding trees to crumble and scatter everywhere. Meanwhile, Yi Xiong was flying through the air while holding documents. She frowned as she read, the families on this list are all very powerful, it seems they won't be easy to deal with. As she passed by the Heavenly Net Dao Academy and heard the commotion, she glanced over, there's a fight over there. Without hesitation, Yi Xiong flew over, daring to fight in the academy, they must be tired of living. Just wait for me to punish them. With her swift demeanor, Yi Xiong soared over the imposing tiled roof houses. When she arrived at the scene of the conflict, she could clearly see the chaotic scene below from above. At that moment, Yun Fei was still continuously attacking, laughing triumphantly. Yi Xiong quickly recognized him. That person seems to be Xia Yun Fei from the Xia family, a new student of this year from the Xia family. Seeing the situation becoming increasingly serious, she was filled with evil energy, ready to take action. Yi Xiong began to act, the descendants of the Xia family are bullying people again, I must intervene to manage this. Suddenly, she froze, feeling utterly confused. Below, a hazy figure of a young man appeared in the thick white smoke. Shi Xian spoke softly, breaking the arrogance of the other, hey, are you scratching an itch for me? With a triumphant expression, he clasped his hands together and politely said, it's my turn. As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly sprang up and shouted loudly, take this. Hearing Shi Xian, Yun Fei immediately launched an attack, but it had no effect whatsoever. Panicking, he exclaimed, damn it. Why? Why doesn't my magic work on you? Green beams of light were continuously shot by Yun Fei towards Shi Xian, who easily dodged all of his attacks. Waiting for the right moment, Shi Xian charged directly at where he was standing, preparing to strike while warning him, take a hit from me. Realizing something was wrong, Yun Fei fearfully shouted a threat, I am a descendant of the Xia family. Do you dare? In an instant, a powerful foot decisively kicked him square in the face. Yun Fei's entire face took the hit without missing a beat. Blood immediately spurted from the man's nose as his body was kicked several zhang away, finally crashing into the forest's edge with a loud explosion, sending rocks and dust flying. Yun Fei was knocked out cold, his body battered and bruised. Shi Xian raised an eyebrow at the miserable state of his opponent, then scoffed with disdain, pathetic. Excited by the turn of events, Li Luo Er's eyes sparkled with joy as she shouted, we won. She quickly ran over to him, full of admiration. Xian, you're amazing. But he simply responded lightly, he was just too weak. Watching the scene, Yi Xiong frowned and murmured, which clan is that little guy from? His opponent was an expert from the Xia family, yet he defeated him so easily. Sensing the extraordinary power and cheerful demeanor of the boy after the match, she silently decided she had to investigate the background of this little guy. Back at the Heavenly Net Dao Academy, Shi Xian and Luo Er strolled through the front gate with ease. Before them stretched a wide-open courtyard. From afar, Luo Er spotted a seated figure and said, "The registration point is in this plaza." As they approached, they could clearly see the teacher at the seat nodding off, dozing in his supposedly dignified position. Luo Er ran in front of the other person and politely greeted, "Hello senior, we are here to register as new disciples." She placed down 2 golden identity cards with inscriptions, "These are our identity cards." The other person glanced over and frowned slightly, "People from the Li family in Yanbei, welcome to Heavenly Net Dao Academy." Then the deacon turned his gaze to the man behind Luo Er. "Oh." He hesitated slightly as he looked at Shi Xian, "This little guy dressed in ordinary clothes is also from the Li family?" At this moment, Luo Er awkwardly smiled, "Yes, that's right. He just returned from training outside and hasn't had time to change clothes." The deacon didn't think much of it, just handed the keys to both of them and reminded, "Each family has only one room, this is your room key. The location is on this key, remember to gather at the square tomorrow morning." She looked at the key in her hand and blushed, asking softly, "Is there really only one room?" Shi Xian just smiled calmly, "I can stay outside, I'm used to being outside often." Luo Er immediately blushed and hurriedly explained, "You misunderstood, I didn't mean that." Then she whispered softly, "I am willing to stay with a Xian." He looked at her innocently and asked, "Why is your face so red? Are you sick?" She felt shy, making her voice increasingly hesitant. "No, I'm fine, let's hurry back to the room." As dusk fell, they arrived at the assigned room. "We've arrived." They looked inside and saw only one bed. There was no other elaborate furniture in the room. Luo Er placed a hand over her mouth, murmuring softly, "Only one bed?" Shi Xian remained cheerful as ever, "One bed? That's easy then." He pushed 2 wooden tables together, 2 tables combined make one bed. She hesitated, but Shi Xian smiled and gently patted the makeshift bed, "I'm used to sleeping outside, having a table to sleep on is already a luxury." Luo Er blushed with gratitude, "A Xian." Suddenly, a woman's voice interrupted, "Is this the room of the Li family's young master in Yanbei?" Luo Er cautiously glanced at the door, "Who?" The one who spoke was Yi Xiong. She rested her hand on her hip, slightly tilting her head as she spoke, "Hello to you all." Luo Er stepped closer, "May I ask what you need?" Yi Xiong replied straightforwardly, "I'm not here to find you." She looked over at Shi Xian, who was still confused. "Little guy, what is your name?" He didn't understand anything but obediently replied, "I am." Shi Xian, "I don't know, senior." Before he could finish his sentence, Yi Xiong grabbed his chin, leaving Shi Xian stunned. "Ha!" She smiled slightly and said firmly, "Very good, I am very pleased with you." Luo Er, witnessing the scene, immediately turned pale and shouted, "What are you doing?" Yi Xiong, unfazed and unembarrassed, even smiled lightly and suggested, "Become my disciple, and I will train you to be the first cultivator of the alliance." Shi Xian, perhaps too surprised, stammered and couldn't form a complete sentence, I. Seeing him hesitant, she burst into laughter, "But don't rush to agree right away." Yi Xiong turned away and continued, "Try to pass the assessment tomorrow, then you can become my disciple. I am Guyu Yi Xiong, the Grand Elder of the Dao Academy." As she walked out the door, she waved her hand, "See you tomorrow." Luo Er clenched her fists, grinding her teeth in jealousy, damn it, she really touched a Xian. Seeing Shi Xian not responding, she became even more upset, she doesn't look like a good person at all. A Xian must not agree to her. He reluctantly agreed, "All right." After leaving that place, Yi Xiong flew high into the sky. She felt a bit heavy-hearted and couldn't help but worry. This little guy has offended the Xia family, the people of the Xia family will definitely not let it go. If the family master of the Xia family personally comes to take revenge, I wonder if this little guy can handle it. In the end, she could only place her hope in the phrase, I hope he can overcome this difficult hurdle. In the afternoon at the outer courtyard, Yun Fei had been bandaged up carefully, but it was clear that he had not fully regained his senses. Another person approached from afar and called out, Brother Dao. He was the eldest young master of the Xia family, Shan Fan. He looked down at the severely battered Yun Fei and asked angrily, who did this? Who dares to lay a hand on someone from my Xia family? The beaten subordinates immediately spoke up on his behalf. It was the Li family from Yanbei. The eldest young master must take revenge for the young master. Upon hearing this, Shan Lan unexpectedly asked back, the Li family from Yanbei? Is the Li family that bold? Without hesitation, he turned and left. I will go meet them. As night fell, the full moon rose to its peak. In a small room, the scent of incense wafted through the air. A person is soaking in a wooden bathtub. Luo Er gazes into an indistinct corner of the hazy mist. She lifts her head slightly in thought. A Xian said he has some matters outside. What could he do here where he doesn't know anyone? The more Luo Er thinks, the more uncomfortable she feels, so she buries half her face in the warm water. Will he suddenly come back? Just then, a figure in black appears behind her and speaks, long time no see, Luo Er. She is startled and shouts, who? Without caring that she is not dressed, she jumps out of the bathtub and quickly grabs a piece of white cloth from outside. Luo Er wraps the white cloth around herself to cover her body. Who are you? How do you know my room? Shan Lan stands there with a slight smile. My name is Xia Shan Lan. The first time I met you, you were still a young girl. She glares at him cautiously. Are you from the Xia family? Did you come to take revenge for Xia Yunfei? Shan Lan speaks in a tone that is almost threatening. Not only did you reject Yunfei's proposal, but you also injured him. I originally wanted to teach you a lesson, but now seeing you looking so beautiful, I'll give you a chance. Luo Er immediately had a serious expression. What opportunity? He continued calmly, becoming my concubine, the grievances between the Xia family and the Li family can be considered settled. She seemed to find this very funny, unable to hold back her laughter. Becoming your concubine? The next sentence was accompanied by a kick, in your dreams. Yet Shan Lan gently grabbed her foot and smirked, you really are sharp-tongued. I like that. His eyes glowed a blood red, you should get some sleep. Instantly, Luo Er seemed to be hypnotized, vaguely uttering a word, you. After that, she gradually lost consciousness, only able to mumble, so sleepy. Luo Er lost all her strength and fell freely. Shan Lan silently stood by, watching the woman lying on the ground. He smiled wickedly, you belong to me now. Some time later, on the roof of Heavenly Net Dao Academy, a person was sitting. Shi Xian was meditating on the roof, softly exhaling. He looked at the now high moon and murmured to himself, it's getting late, I'll stop my cultivation here for today. It's indeed inconvenient to be with others, I have to avoid them while cultivating. Then he lay down right there, I guess I'll sleep here tonight. Suddenly, there was a crackling sound. Shi Xian immediately opened his eyes. Something's wrong, there are auras of two people. He quickly jumped across the rooftops of other cultivation places. Luo Er is in danger. At the same time, Shan Lan was carrying someone away. He looked down at Luo Er in his arms and muttered, this time the Li family has two people, why is she the only one I encounter? Shan Lan couldn't help but feel a bit puzzled. I heard them say that the one who defeated Xia Yunfei is a man. Shi Xian shot in from somewhere, shouting loudly, put her down. He glanced over. Who? Before he could react, he took a hit to the face. The pressure was so strong that it created an explosion. Fortunately, Shi Xian managed to catch Luo Er. Shan Lan was knocked back into the wall, causing a significant impact. He lay motionless among the rubble. At that moment, Shi Xian had cradled Luo Er in his arms. He shouted angrily, how can there be a pervert in the academy? The security measures are too poor. The wind blew for a few moments, while that place was still shrouded in thick dust and smoke. Shan Lan struggled to get up, gently checking the wound on his cheek. Damn little guy, what's your name? Shi Xian immediately replied with his name. Shi Xian, you are the one sent by the Xia family for revenge, aren't you? Shan Lan smiled, quickly transforming into a beast. That's right, it seems the one who injured Xia Yunfei is indeed you. His arms sprouted fur, and his nails elongated like tiger claws. Finally, you have appeared. To be able to defeat Yunfei, you are indeed not simple. Shan Lan launched an attack towards Shi Xian. Let's see how many of my moves you can withstand. From his claws, a column of wind appeared like a guillotine. Shi Xian remained calm and extended his hand to block the attack with a technique. He effortlessly neutralized Shan Lan's strike. But it seemed he had anticipated this, as he lunged from behind. With a downward slash and a sinister, triumphant smile, Shi Xian quickly scooped up Luo air and jumped high to evade the blow. He was also surprised by his transformation. It's the beast transformation magic system. Shan Lan landed on the ground and let out an excited roar. Moments later, he leaped up with such speed that he seemed to leave afterimages. He was preparing to launch another attack at the two while all three were in the air. Shan Lan announced the name of his technique, 10,000 Beasts Heavenly Demon Palm. A powerful strike was unleashed, putting pressure on Shi Xian. Because he was carrying Luo air, who was still unconscious, it was very difficult for him to fight. Damn it! Naturally, Shi Xian took a blow to the shoulder, causing blood to spurt out. He landed on the ground, but Shan Lan was still pursuing him from behind. Shi Xian turned to look at him and sighed, this is really hard to deal with. He carefully leaned Luo air against the wall and then got into a fighting stance. Looks like I have to use all my strength now. Shan Lan jumped down hard, causing a strong tremor that cracked the ground. He stood there with an angry and provocative expression, do you want to surrender? If you hand over that woman to me, maybe I'll spare your life. Faced with the rage clouding his opponent's judgment, Shi Xian managed to stay calm and replied, ridiculous, we're just getting started, bring it on. However, his words only made the other party even angrier. He kept shouting loudly, unreasonable. Just a moment later, Shan Lan split into multiple clones, causing chaos in the surroundings. He quickly charged forward with his clones, shouting in unison, Beast Shadow Clone. This scene made Shi Xian, on the opposite side, feel panicked. He unconsciously exclaimed, divided into 3 names already. However, he still stood there with no intention of dodging. At the crucial moment, when Shan Lan and his clones charged in, he provocatively shouted, guess which one is my true self. At that moment, Shi Xian skillfully dodged the opponent's attack. Shan Lan's clones rushed past him in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, a large tear appeared on Shi Xian's handsome face, leaving him in shock. Meanwhile, Shan Lan sat nearby with an arrogant demeanor, continuously taunting, yet you managed to dodge all of them, you won't be so lucky with the next move. Faced with the opponent's anger, Shi Xian simply smiled mockingly and replied, truly foolish, I already knew your true self. This statement directly provoked Shan Lan's fury, and he shouted loudly, talking nonsense, still strong-tongued before you die. Immediately after, a series of attacks targeted Shi Xian, die already. Meanwhile, Shi Xian still stood there, seemingly unconcerned about his opponent. After a while, he casually spoke, just need to know which one hit my face. But very soon after, Shi Xian regained his spirit. He shouted at his opponent, even an idiot knows where the true body is. His firm demeanor left Shan Lan in astonishment. He involuntarily exclaimed in anger, huh. Without giving him a chance to process the situation, Shi Xian struck him hard. In an instant, Shan Lan was beaten to the point of dizziness. He was sent flying backwards before the astonished eyes of the remaining clones. Within just a few short seconds, Shan Lan's clones also began to vanish into thin air. Now, only he lay languidly on the cold ground. He showed no reaction at all. Meanwhile, Shi Xian casually held a girl in his arms. After a moment, he declared, today I spare your life, I hope you won't come to bother us again in the future. Luo air suddenly opened her eyes, looking around in confusion. She unconsciously exclaimed in a panicked voice, where am I? Before Luo air stood the figure of Shan Lan, who was there with a bullet-like glare, his voice deepening, Li Luo air. He unconsciously reached out his hand towards her with a lewd smile, you can't escape. This scene frightened Luo air. She kept screaming desperately, no. She shut her eyes tightly, trembling in fear, don't come over here. Just a moment later, Luo air jumped up. She still couldn't regain her composure at that moment. In front of her, Shi Xian was kindly bringing her a glass of water. It was then that Luo Er instinctively exclaimed, "A Xian, Xia, where is Xia Shanlan?" Upon hearing this, the other person quickly responded with concern, "You're awake now, don't worry, that guy has been chased away by me." Only when reassured like this could Luo Er finally lift the burden and sigh, "I knew that guy wasn't a match for a Xian." Not allowing her to finish her sentence, Shi Xian quickly brought the cup of water in front of her and interrupted, "Here, drink some hot tea first." Immediately, Luo Er took the cup from him and softly replied, "Thank you." She couldn't help but exclaim, "If a Xian hadn't come with me here, I don't know how I would have handled such things alone." Suddenly, the blanket wrapped around Luo Er fell down. This scene made Shi Xian's nose bleed instantly. Meanwhile, she sat there with an innocent look on her face. But just a moment later, Luo Er, with a flushed face, unintentionally exclaimed, "Huh." In an instant, the entire dark scene was shaken by Luo Er's piercing scream. "A Xian, why are we naked like this? Where's my towel?" At that moment, Shi Xian also raised her voice to explain, I'm sorry, your towel is covered in mud, so I haven't seen anything." Time quickly passed, and light swiftly enveloped the entire area. On the wide road, Luo Er was walking alongside Shi Xian. At this time, Shi Xian still felt shy about what had happened the night before. Even Luo Er was no exception. Suddenly, he turned to speak first, "I'm really sorry about yesterday, I truly didn't mean it." After he finished, she responded with a shy voice, "A Xian, don't worry about it, I didn't pay attention." Suddenly, a familiar voice rang out, causing their actions to freeze for a moment. "Your relationship is really good, even during the day, you were exchanging glances." The two stood there, blankly looking in the direction from which the voice came. The owner of that voice was none other than Yi Xiong. She spoke without hesitation, "Good morning." Immediately after, Shi Xian regained his composure and replied, "It's Gu Yu Sr." Only Luo Er showed signs of sulking, pouting as she said, "Why her?" Suddenly, Yi Xiong jumped down in front of them, and without hesitation, she said, "You did something unpredictable yesterday." Shi Xian stood there, his face in shock, and he unconsciously spoke, "You found out that quickly?" "It was the Xia family that struck first yesterday." Not making him wait long, Yi Xiong provided an answer, "I didn't come here to blame you, but you have indeed caused a great disaster." Upon hearing this, Shi Xian was even more astonished and exclaimed, "A great disaster?" At this moment, she did not seem anxious. Instead, she explained with a bit of concern, "Xia Shanlan is the most talented disciple of the younger generation of the Xia family. Now that you have severely injured her, the family master of the Xia family will personally take action to seek revenge during the new disciple assessment. You must be careful." Suddenly, Luo Er screamed out in panic, "The family master of the Xia family will personally take action? How could he do that with his status?" Her fear seemed to have no effect on Yi Xiong. She stood there calmly and said, "Family master of the Xia family, Xia Lu, is now an elder of the inner court. Even the grand elder of our Tao Institute has to show him some respect." This scene made Shi Xian feel bored, and he spoke up hesitantly, "Xia Lu, Xia Shanlan, does the Xia family name their members so casually?" As soon as he finished speaking, Luo Er immediately reminded him, "A Xian, don't underestimate Xia Lu, he is a strong Yuaning." Her words left him puzzled as he asked, "Yuaning?" Unbeknownst to Yi Xiong, she took out a piece of green jade and said, "Take this jade token." Upon seeing the item, Shi Xian exclaimed in shock, "What is this?" Noticing his curiosity, Yi Xiong explained without hesitation, "This jade token can save your life in a life and death situation, you just need to pour your thoughts into the jade token and then use it." Immediately after, she flew away from the scene under Shi Xian's astonished gaze. Remember, if you encounter Xia Lu, don't confront him directly, use the jade token and run, that's the best plan. He stood there, looking dazed as he watched her leave. The scene quickly changed to the representative square. Many people are currently gathered here. On everyone's face is a mix of excitement and anxiety. They stood there for a long while. Suddenly, an authoritative voice echoed in the air, "Ladies and gentlemen." The owner of that voice was none other than Ming Yi. She stood there with a proud demeanor, "Welcome to the Tian Luo Academy. Her voice carried an undeniable power. "I am the principal of the academy, and today I personally preside over the entrance examination for new disciples." Ming Yi's presence here astonished the man below, who exclaimed, "To think that the principal is personally presiding, perhaps this year's examination will be more challenging." However, her ears did not catch his words. She continued, "You must be curious why I am personally overseeing the examination. It is because this year's examination will be different from previous years." Her voice grew increasingly authoritative. "Our Cultivation Alliance is in a state of turmoil, and the 4 Academy Martial Arts Tournament of the 4 Great Tao Academies is also in a critical situation, so the entrance examination must be renewed." A bright smile appeared on Ming Yi's beautiful face. This examination not only increases in difficulty several times but also adds a new rule. Suddenly, she proposed an unusual request. "In this examination, students are not prohibited from fighting each other. Life and death will be their own responsibility, and the academy will not pursue it." As soon as the words finished, discussions began to stir below. If the academy does not pursue student duels, then those with weak abilities will. Unbeknownst to Wen, Luo Er and Shi Xian had already arrived here, silently observing the opponent with caution. Suddenly, she spoke up with curiosity. "It seems that this time the academy wants to strictly filter the new disciples. It's likely that the disciples that the major families casually stuffed in to meet the quota will encounter trouble." This statement made Shi Xian beside her ponder even more. "This time, dueling is allowed. I can blame Gu Yu Sr. for worrying about me, but based on my current strength, I can handle all the disciples here. What I fear is that strong Yuaning guy." Ming Yi stood there with an imposing demeanor and spoke. "The location of this examination is Wrath Forest behind the academy. All new disciples must enter Wrath Forest to find tokens to pass the level." In the forest, a man was rushing towards the tree in front. "Tokens to pass the level are distributed all over the forest. A certain strategy is needed to find it." A bright yellow card suddenly appeared in the minds of the people here when Ming Yi informed them, "Remember, the rules allow the students to compete against each other. I hope you all must do your best to secure the token." Before them now was a dense forest with a wide river running around it. After obtaining the token, immediately head to the Yanyun Pavilion at the end of Wrath Forest. Only upon reaching the Yanyun Pavilion can it be considered a pass. Ming Yi tightly held the token in her hand, continuously emphasizing, "However, there are only 100 tokens available in the assessment grounds, while this year's new students number 320. Suddenly, Ming Yi's expression darkened, and her voice turned a bit colder. "This also means that 2/3 of the people here will be eliminated. I hope you all do your utmost to pass this assessment." But soon after, she raised her voice to announce, "Now I declare, the assessment begins." These words surprised Yi Xian. He involuntarily exclaimed, "It finally begins. Only 100 spots. It seems that this time, I can't afford to be modest." Returning to the old forest, the sky was now pitch black. Wrath Forest is located north of the Tian Luo Daoist Temple. It is said to have once been the place where the great Emperor Tian Luo practiced. In Wrath Forest, the Spirit Formation Array is arranged, making it one of the areas with the richest spiritual energy across the mainland. Lightning strikes down here fiercely. Due to the influence of the Spirit Formation Array, the sky is covered with thunder and lightning strikes all day long. A hapless bandit was struck by lightning, leaving his body battered and bruised. He kept screaming in agony. Before long, he was charred and smoking. In the blink of an eye, the bandit collapsed to the ground in a stiffened state. Suddenly, a foot stealthily approached him. It was Shi Xian, who stood there cautiously observing everything. Luo Er behind him inadvertently spoke up with a puzzled expression. "It seems that the thunder here is also part of the assessment content." The scene before them now looked incredibly tragic, with charred corpses scattered across the ground. They moved forward in astonishment at Luo Er's words. She remarked, "Many have already fallen before the thunder like this." Not long after, behind her, a large bolt of lightning began to form. How pitiful. It quickly struck straight towards Luo Er while she was still unalert. This scene quickly caught Shi Xian's attention. He shouted in panic, "Luo Er, get out of the way." He swiftly pushed his opponent away from the area. In an instant, a gigantic lightning bolt struck between them, sending dirt and stones flying. As the smoke gradually cleared, Luo Er exclaimed in astonishment, "Heaven, heavenly thunder. Unconsciously, her gaze fell, and her voice became sadder than before. That was really dangerous. As soon as Luo Er finished speaking, Shi Xian quickly said, "We shouldn't stay here long, let's leave quickly." However, unfortunately, they had fallen into the sight of someone. It was a person with spiky hair. He grinned gleefully and said, "Finally, the target has appeared." A man with spiky black hair in the woods laughed sinisterly and exclaimed, "Finally, the target has appeared." He continued to show his smugness. "The Xia family is offering 100,000 mid-grade spirit stones for the life of this little guy. It seems I'm going to make a fortune this time." The young man with spiky hair suddenly leaped up at incredible speed. "Your head is mine now." The sky, for a moment, turned gloomy. With the dark clouds and dim light filtering through, it evokes a tense atmosphere in the space. Li Luo Er was listening with a somber expression. She couldn't help but sigh. "We've been searching for so long and still haven't found a single token." At this moment, Shi Xian's face appeared serious. He quickly responded to her, "Searching like this isn't the way. The token is essential for the assessment. An important item like that won't just be easy for us to find." As time passed, he seemed increasingly deep in thought, recalling the image of the token. "I think there must be a formation surrounding the token. To find the token, we might have to break the formation first." Suddenly, Shi Xian turned to Luo Er with an urgent expression. "That's right, Luo Er, your Li family must have skills to break formations, right? I wonder if you can break these formations." Upon hearing this, Luo Er appeared contemplative. After a moment, she hesitantly replied, "We can, but my cultivation level hasn't reached that point yet. I must at least reach the origin core stage first." Shi Xian stood there with a pensive look, his hand raised near his chin as if in thought. "In the space ring that Feng's sister left for me, there is a secret manual on formations. Unfortunately, I've always been focused on cultivating spiritual principles of martial arts, not on breaking formations." Suddenly, a cry for help tore through the tranquil atmosphere of the forest, drawing the attention of both men. "Help, help me." In front of them were the legs of a man in dark trousers moving forward. A young man with neatly tied black hair stood there with a pained and panicked expression. He spoke in agony, "Help, help me." In a vast scene, the curved rooftops, each with glistening golden tiles under the light, formed a massive architectural complex. In the Tian Luo courtyard, Shan Lan, with bandages on his forehead, had a sharp and furious gaze. He was grinding his teeth in anger, his mouth wide open as if screaming, "Father, why have you put a bounty on the lives of those two?" He rushed towards his father, saying, "They are also my prey. I must deal with that little guy myself to wash away my shame." Suddenly, a slap landed on Shan Lan's face in an instant. At the same time, a loud shout rang out, "Shut up!" Immediately, Shan Lan fell hard to the ground, groaning in pain on the red carpet. Xia Lu, dressed in noble purple and white garments, wearing a crown or a tiara, looked down at Shan Lan with an expression of anger mixed with disdain. He growled, "You fool, are you not embarrassed enough to lose to a new disciple?" Xia Lu stood there with an imposing presence, but also filled with disappointment. "You should know, because of your failure, how much mockery my inner court elder has to endure." His words struck like a knife into Shan Lan's pride. He growled, "So you must wash away this shame yourself." This statement left Xia Lu stunned. He coldly ordered, "From now on, you will quietly stay at home to cultivate, and let Tianju the assassin deal with that little guy from the Li family." Shan Lan sat there looking irritated, saying, "Tianju the assassin." At the same time, in the ancient forest, bolts of lightning struck down here. A man with black hair and wide, terrified eyes was pleading incessantly, "Save us, save me." But before he could finish, a blinding light suddenly tore through the space. It quickly pierced through him, causing him to vanish from this world. The one who struck him was a sturdy figure, bald with a spiky green tail of hair. His eyes gleamed fiercely, further emphasizing his cold-blooded nature. Luo Er frowned and looked around in disgust. What a wicked person, casually killing others like this. Shi Xian gritted her teeth in anger and instructed, "It seems an intense battle here is inevitable, so make sure to protect yourself well later." A scruffy-haired man was kneeling on the ground searching for something. He gritted his teeth in anger and cursed, "Damn it, this guy doesn't have it either." He looked up and saw the two people in front of him, puzzled. "There are still two of you." Confidently, he extended his hand forward and ordered, "You two, quickly hand over the token to pass the level." Luo Er calmly replied, "Sorry, but we couldn't find the token." He smiled wickedly and muttered, "Looks like I can only find it on your corpses then." He slowly grasped the hilt of his sword, swiftly throwing the blade towards the two. Shi Xian and Luo Er quickly jumped to the sides to evade the attack. He drew his sword and prepared to strike, throwing another blade. A whip was drawn, and he arrogantly shouted, "Let's see how long you plan to hide." The whips flew one after another, cutting across the ground. Shi Xian and Luo Er nimbly jumped up to avoid them. He gritted his teeth, staring at the smoke in front of him. She also gritted her teeth, trying to hold on. From behind, the blade silently advanced to attack. The blade was getting closer and closer. As if sensing the danger, Luo Er furrowed her brows in panic. She looked back and murmured, "Not good." The blade was stopped by Shi Xian's arm. Luo Er anxiously called out, "A Xian." The man was sweating profusely, wondering, how could he block my knife? Shi Xian squeezed the broken sword with one hand, shattering it, and angrily shouted, "You are truly insane, I want to teach you a good lesson." The shattered sword fell to the ground. He beckoned provocatively, "What else do you have? Use it all up." The man smirked, satisfied, and said, "After staying in this jungle for so long and killing so many people, I finally meet someone with a bit of skill." He quickly jumped up, declaring a challenge, "In the end, you will still die." He angrily held two knives in his hands and threw them forward. He turned to dodge them. The man charged at Shi Xian with a sword, gritting his teeth in anger as he glared at him. "Next, you won't be able to escape." Shi Xian took a leap, "Is that so? The guy saw you raise your leg and immediately took out his sword to block in front." Shi Xian kicked him, causing the sword to show signs of breaking. The sword broke in half, and he was also thrown far away. He looked at the broken sword, muttering, "Damn it." He angrily looked down, "My mysterious iron ring, the kicking force is too domineering." At that moment, thunder rumbled in the sky, and you called him down. "Hey, it's very dangerous up there, hurry down here." Seeing Shi Xian call his name, he was very confused. What is this guy talking about? The lightning in the sky grew louder, and a bolt struck him directly. He was hit by the lightning and screamed in pain. The lightning strike caused him to fall to the ground. He lay unconscious on the sunken ground, his eyes rolled back. You approached him, this is truly a fitting punishment. Shi Xian looked at the lightning in the sky and smiled, these heavenly thunders are really pleasing to the eye. Luo Er happily walked over to you, "A Xian, I see that none of the new disciples in this assessment are a match for you now." Shi Xian stood there laughing heartily at her compliment, "You flatter me, I'm still lacking a lot. We should hurry and leave here." Luo Er approached the man lying unconscious on the ground. "We can't just leave like this." He frowned as he observed her actions. "Luo Er, what do you want to do?" Luo Er quickly tore the man's clothes, leaving Shi Xian speechless. "We have to take advantage of this opportunity." After a while of rummaging through his belongings, she managed to collect a lot of precious stones. "Let's go, this guy has too many spirit stones on him." The two happily left together, chatting as they walked. "If we can encounter a few more like him on the way, we would strike it rich. Please spare me, I can't handle continuous fighting." The man lay there with no clothes on, only a pair of red boxer shorts. Dark clouds gathered in the sky, and thunder rumbled. The two walked together in silence. He turned to call her name but looked away. "Luo Er." Shi Xian stared at Luo Er's full chest. "I have a question since just now." Seeing this, she shyly covered herself with her hands. "A Xian, why do you keep staring at me?" He waved his hands to deny it. No, don't misunderstand, I'm just curious why you don't have a bag on you. Where did those spirit stones end up?" Luo Er smiled cheerfully and explained to Shi Xian, "So that's what this is about, of course, they're kept in the storage ring. He was very surprised that she had such a useful item. You actually have a storage ring. Luo Er held out the shiny ring for Shi Xian to see. This storage ring is something that cultivators like us must have. All the medicinal materials we need for cultivation are stored in it, just like a part of our body. He praised her outwardly, but inside he felt quite gloomy. So everyone here has one? I thought it was some kind of rare item. The ring that Sister Feng gave me doesn't seem very valuable. Yi Xian felt lost. She looked at the ring and smiled wryly. Although everyone here has a storage ring, all we have are the lowest grade storage rings. Luo Er further explained to Shi Xian about this type of ring. There are 4 grades of storage rings: heaven, earth, mysterious, and yellow. The lowest grade is the yellow grade. The space inside is only 5 square meters. Each time you upgrade a grade, the space inside increases by millions of times. Therefore, only elders or sect masters in each sect or family can have the mysterious level storage rings. The heavenly grade is said to exist only in legends, and very few people have truly encountered them. She was very fascinated by those rings. I heard that these legendary great power storage rings can hold entire mountains. He propped his chin and thought for a moment, if that's the case, why not just take the rings of that guy from before? Luo Er held the ring seriously and said to Shi Xian, taking his ring would be useless, it fundamentally cannot be opened. A few drops of blood fell onto the stone of the ring. Each person's storage ring will use their own fresh blood to imprint their soul mark. Unless the owner of that ring agrees, outsiders cannot open it at all. If an outsider forcibly tries to open the ring with brute force, the items inside will be immediately destroyed. She happily showed him how to break the mark. If you want to give your own ring to someone else, you just need to unblock your own mark with the ring. Shi Xian worriedly murmured to himself, I tried to use my divine consciousness on Feng's ring, and the space inside seems to be countless yards. Perhaps the level is very high. Luo Er, unable to hear clearly, asked him again, Xian, what did you say? It's nothing, I was just expressing my thoughts. How wonderful it would be if I could have one. The conversation between the two continued cheerfully. Xian, if you want a storage ring, I can give you one. No, your ring is very important to you, I can't take it. I think after this assessment is over, that senior Guyu might give me one. In another part of the forest, green dots floated in the air. Shi Xian slowly walked over to that spot. The two stopped and looked around. How strange, the spiritual energy here has suddenly become denser. Luo Er observed curiously, even the thunder is absent. He raised his hand to catch the green dots. Could this place be a spirit formation? Shi Xian turned to say to her, Luo Er, it seems there is a spirit formation here. He told Luo Er, the token I want to pass the trial will be nearby. The token will be here. Yellow formations appeared in the forest. The formation that conceals the token requires a large amount of spiritual energy to support it. It must be established on the focal point of the spirit formation. A card appeared in the middle of the formation. If we prevent the spirit formation from continuing to gather spiritual energy, then the hidden formation will disappear, and we will be able to obtain the token. He raised his hand to his chin, closing his eyes to think. How can we stop the spiritual energy? If we destroy the spirit formation that has been painstakingly established, won't we be immediately expelled? Shi Xian sighed and turned to Luo Er, I can't think of anything. Let's rest here for the night and come up with a solution tomorrow. Alright. The two went to gather firewood and lit a fire. They lay on either side of the fire, and he glanced over at her. Luo Er seemed to be fast asleep. Suddenly, Shi Xian sat up. This place isn't suitable for staying long, I need to quickly break the formation here and find the token. He looked at the ring in the palm of his hand. Right now, I can only rely on the secret manual of the formation that Sister Feng left behind to learn it now. From the ring, Shi Xian summoned an item, which was a scroll of a book, Secret Techniques of the Formation. He held the book in his hands. The secret techniques of the formation, it seems this is the one. Shi Xian opened it and read what was written inside. I must learn it tonight. After pondering for a while, he finally understood. An hour later, so it turns out to be that simple. I thought at least I would have to study for a night. Shi Xian rolled up the scroll and put it away. Alright, I will start to break the hidden formation now. He sat down and began to channel his energy, a wave of power surrounding him. Shi Xian raised his arms to the sky. He summoned incomprehensible characters and connected them together. A green formation appeared. The hidden formation has manifested. Shi Xian pressed his hands to the ground and shouted, "Then I will increase the power, reveal yourself to me." A burst of energy shot straight up into the sky. Luo Er felt the strong wind and gradually woke up. She squinted her eyes and turned to call him, "A Xian, it seems like there's an earthquake." The rising smoke astonished Luo Er. Huh? She was confused, not understanding what was happening, and was blown away. What is happening? The smoke escaped from the forest. Luo Er was blown far away, wondering, is there an enemy attacking? She looked at the smoke, speechless. Shi Xian stood in the fading mist, surprised to see the card in his hand. Is this the token to pass the level? Luo Er exclaimed in shock. "A Xian, where did you get your token?" Shi Xian raised the card and smiled awkwardly. "I accidentally destroyed the formation. This token appeared suddenly." His answer left her stunned. "Accidentally, you can still find a token? Are you kidding?" Shi Xian looked at Luo Er with determined eyes. "We still need one more token, then we can pass the level together." From a distance, an arrow shot towards them, and a rope wrapped tightly around her. Luo Er was pulled back by the rope, screaming in fear. He called out her name loudly, "Luo Er." The man on the tree branch held on to Luo Er tightly. He grinned with delight at Shi Xian. "This time I'm in luck." He gritted his teeth in anger, glaring at the man. "Damn it, I was too careless." The man jumped off the branch, still holding on to her, landing on the ground. He made a demand to Shi Xian. "Kid, hand over your storage ring, and I'll conveniently lift the blood curse." He stared at the man, worried and thinking. "Oh no, did he see me earlier? He has been hiding in the tree for so long, yet I didn't notice him." Luo Er, though captured, bravely spoke up, "He doesn't have the ring. If you want the ring, I can give it to you." The man shouted, pressing a knife against her neck, "Shut up, I don't want your worthless ring." He lightly cut a line across Luo Er's face, "If you don't hand it over, I will slash her face up." The boy panicked and agreed, "Wait, I'll give it to you." Shi Xian reached into his pocket to take out the ring, "Give it to this guy first, and later I'll think of a way to get it back." The man laughed gleefully, happily thinking, "Once I get the ring, I will kill all of you." Suddenly, 3 streaks of light appeared from nowhere, cutting through him, leaving him in shock. When he was cut into 3, his body gradually disintegrated. The boy saw this and shouted in astonishment, "What?" With just one slash, the man was torn apart into 3 pieces. Luckily Luo Er managed to avoid it in time. Even Shi Xian didn't expect it. What? The one who caused this was none other than Shan Lan, standing there as if admiring the work he had just created. His gaze was as sharp as a knife, with no other expression. Both Shi Xian and Luo Er simultaneously shouted that name, "Xia." "Xia Shan Lan." He stepped over the corpse of the other person with great calmness. "Shi Xian, you disappoint me greatly. Someone like this can bully you, and you cannot die at the hands of such a person." Shan Lan gritted his teeth and affirmed, "You must understand that your life belongs to me." Upon hearing this, Shi Xian immediately felt displeased and summoned his skill. "If you want to kill me yourself, then come over here quickly." He showed no signs of hesitation. Instead, he calmly continued, "Right now, I will not kill you. I want to defeat you fairly in the academy, only then can I wash away my humiliation." He stopped using his skill and asked, "If you don't want to kill me now, then why are you here?" Shan Lan replied straightforwardly, "My father has invited the Tianju assassin to take your life first. I cannot let someone else take your life before I do." Luo Er stepped forward, confused, and asked, "Tianju assassin? Is it really necessary to go that far?" Shi Xian also wondered, "Is the Tianju assassin that formidable?" Not wanting to stay any longer, Shanlan turned to leave but still said, "This person is the leader of the Origin Foundation realm. You and I joining forces might barely be able to cope. Moreover, no one has ever seen his true appearance, making it difficult for people to be on guard." In the sky, thunder rumbled, and his voice echoed, "He has infiltrated the new recruits, lying in ambush within this dense forest." Amidst the lush trees, lightning struck down continuously. A figure lying on the ground had been pierced through the body by a blade. The sword was withdrawn, accompanied by a chilling sound. The perpetrator was a hidden figure. He licked the blood off the sword with his tongue, then spat it on the ground in disdain. He grumbled irritably, "The spiritual energy in the blood of these worthless trash is so diluted, it's hard to drink." The person stood under the stormy sky and gently looked up, saying, "I hope the blood of that guy won't disappoint me." At the entrance of Wrath Forest the silhouettes of two men appeared before two corpses. Yi Xiong stood behind, one hand on his hip, and spoke up, "What happened? Do you really need me to come here in person?" He saw her arrive and hurriedly ran over to report, "Grand Elder, there are monsters infiltrating the forest, which is both real and illusory." Yi Xiong looked at the scene before him, momentarily unable to articulate his thoughts. What is this?" On the ground lay the completely distorted corpses, their blood entirely drained. The subordinate speculated that these people had died about a day ago. He reported each detail clearly and concisely. A day ago was when the examination began. Currently, the monster has probably hidden itself among the disciples participating in the test. Yi Xiong fell silent, deep in thought. Damn it, could it be that Xiao Lu intentionally let this happen for revenge? She turned halfway to look at him and said, "Go back and inform the institutes to increase their defenses." "We can't act recklessly," the other replied quickly. "Yes." Yi Xiong stood, gazing at the dark, overcast sky. "It seems I have to personally venture into the jungle." In the sky, dark clouds gathered, striking a large bolt of lightning accompanied by a thunderous sound. Shi Xian and Luo Er continued to delve deeper into the forest. But they were not alone. In the distance, there was a familiar figure that made both of them uneasy. The figure was none other than Shanlan. He said nothing and simply walked alongside them. Luo Er frowned, displeased. "What is this guy doing following us?" Shi Xian whispered, "If he wants to follow, let him. We don't need to pay attention to him." But she didn't listen and turned back to call out directly, "Hey, you." Luo Er stepped closer, just a step away from Shanlan. "Why are you following us? Do you want to take this opportunity to sneak attack us for revenge?" He replied calmly as if he had no malicious intent, "The assassin Tianju is in this jungle, there are dangers all around. Without my help, you won't be able to reach the end point." Luo Er found his last statement very annoying and immediately shouted, "The only danger here is you. Are you out of your mind?" Suddenly, Shi Xian's voice interrupted, "Luo Er, there's a problem ahead." She looked back and asked, "What is it?" He stared intently ahead and warned, "The path ahead is blocked." Clearly, in front of the three was a place shrouded in white smoke, obscuring the road ahead. Amidst the mist, eerie sounds were continuously emanating. Shi Xian and Luo Er continued to move forward despite having no clear path. "It seems we have been walking in the fog for a long time. The extent of this fog is too vast." Shanlan interjected from behind, "No, the extent of this fog is not large at all." He understood the situation well and stated directly, "We have encountered a ghost blocking our way." Luo Er turned her head in fear to look at Shanlan. "Ghost? A ghost blocking our way? What nonsense are you talking about?" He approached a large tree marked with an X. "I left signs all along the path." Then Shanlan placed his hand on the side of that mark. "You all look here." His serious expression looked at both of them. "This is the first sign I left. We have returned to the starting point." Luo Er puffed her cheeks in anger. "You." Unable to hold back, she shouted, "If you knew it was a ghost blocking our way, why didn't you say so earlier so we wouldn't have taken so long?" Shanlan replied calmly, "You didn't ask me." Luo Er was so scared that tears streamed down her face, making him feel helpless as he stood behind her. Heavens, what kind of people am I encountering? At that moment, Shi Xian became alert and spoke up, "There's movement." After hearing this, she immediately got into a defensive stance. "A Xian, did you hear that?" Luo Er squinted her eyes in difficulty. looking into the thick white fog. The fog is too dense, it's clearly impossible to see the situation. Suddenly, a dark shadow appeared right in front of her in an instant. Luo Er, upon seeing that it was not shaped like a normal human, couldn't help but scream loudly. From behind her, a fist reached out. Monster, die. The fist struck directly at the face of the figure without missing by an inch. Shi Xian successfully knocked the figure down. The person who had just appeared painfully wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, seemingly shocked by the blow. At this moment, Shi Xian also realized that it was not a monster. The guy on the ground, trembling, spoke up, "Wait, you are human." Shi Xian stared at the person on the ground like an idiot. Of course. Why would you ask that? He hurriedly rushed forward, gripping Shi Xian's shoulders tightly. Please, please, save my friend. Shi Xian gently reassured him, don't rush, take your time. He spoke with eyes still filled with fear, recounting, my friends and I were on our way to find a token when we suddenly encountered a large fog. This fog seemed to have unusual energy, and no matter what we did, we couldn't get out. His memories flashed back as he continued to tell the story. Not long after, we came across a small house. 2 of my friends went in to check. I stayed outside to keep watch, but after a long time, there was no movement at all in the room. Because I was too scared to go in and check, I could only look around for someone to call for help. Luckily, I met you all, and I hope you will help us out of fellow disciples' compassion. Shi Xian then spoke heroically, the small house, take me to see it. Luo Er worriedly asked at that moment, Xian, it might be very dangerous, do we really have to go? Shan Lan came up from behind and suggested, we should quickly find a way out now and not meddle in other people's affairs. But Shi Xian remained resolute, I have a feeling that small house is the key for us to escape this fog. After saying that, he turned to the other person, lead the way. Without any hesitation, he said, yes, yes, yes. The 4 of them walked together through the thick fog of the forest. Shi Xian looked around cautiously, with such dense fog, can you still find that house? He opened his eyes wide and replied, I have used spiritual energy to mark the path, we will definitely find it. Just a moment later, his face turned pale with fear, we have arrived. In front of them stood a simple little house right in the middle of the forest. He was sweating profusely, speaking with a slight tremor, this is the place, my friend is right here. I wonder how they are doing now. Luo Er bowed his head, murmuring anxiously, it's too gloomy. At this moment, Shi Xian had approached the house. Everyone wait outside, I'll go in and check first. He touched the wooden door and gently pushed it open. The door creaked softly as if it hadn't been opened in a long time. Shi Xian paused to observe the area in front of him. Inside the house, there was only a low table, nothing else remained, not even small furniture. Shi Xian stood still for a moment, continuing to observe, when he finally noticed a large bundle in the corner of the wall. What is that? The object was covered with a layer of red fabric with patterns, and there seemed to be something inside. Shi Xian looked at it for a moment before deciding to uncover it. He grasped a corner of the blanket tightly and then forcefully flipped it over decisively, his eyes widening immediately at what appeared beneath the blanket. What is this? It was a beautiful woman who had fainted, but her shirt was half open, revealing her fair figure. She let out a small groan in her throat as if she had just been awakened. Shi Xian vaguely realized, still alive. He bent down to shake her awake, Miss, please wake up. Outside, Luo Er anxiously asked, is there any movement inside? Is a Xian talking? She glanced at Shan Lan and signaled, let's go in and see. After saying that, she quickly rushed through the door, calling out loudly, a Xian. Luo Er opened her eyes wide as if trying to find the other person as quickly as possible, are you okay? But the first scene she saw was Shi Xian in an inappropriate position on top of the strange woman. Luo Er exclaimed, what are you doing? He turned to look at her and softly called, Luo Er. Inside the small house, a heated argument broke out, I just wanted to see if she was awake. Don't misunderstand. Who would have known the woman had already woken up, dazedly asking, who are you? Shi Xian sat in front of her, calmly explaining, we are disciples participating in the Akseed sect test who got lost in this thick fog. We just discovered this house and found you sleeping here." He was a bit anxious to clarify the situation. "What exactly happened here, and why are you sleeping here?" She spoke only after she was fully awake. "I don't know either, I'm just a participant in this test. I encountered a thick fog here, and it seemed like something attacked me inside the fog, causing me to faint." As she spoke, tears streamed down her face, looking extremely pitiful. "I never expected to wake up in this gloomy little house, I'm scared." A moment later, she rushed to hug Shi Xian's waist, her voice rising, "Please save me, I'm willing to do anything you want." Luo Er was furious at this scene. "This woman dares to seduce my Xian." The young man quickly stepped forward and asked, "Miss, have you seen 2 other men enter this house?" The woman looked up at him and replied honestly, "I've been unconscious the whole time, so I didn't see anyone else." Shi Xian gently closed his eyes and suggested, "It's getting late, let's stay here tonight and think of a way tomorrow." At this moment, Shanlan voiced her opposition to his plan. "This house has an unknown origin, we can ensure our safety by staying outside." Shi Xian hesitated and said, "This." Luo Er lowered his eyes and whispered, clearly very scared. "Being in this small house at night is indeed a bit." Suddenly, the wooden door of the house was blown open by a strong wind, then it closed again with a loud bang. Luo Er anxiously looked out the door and asked, "Why did the door close?" Before anyone could answer, 2 loud explosions came from the ground, causing the wooden floor to crack. 2 dry corpses emerged from the ground with strange shapes. They emitted growling sounds from their throats and slowly approached them. The boy turned pale with fear and quickly said, "This is you guys, how did you turn into this?" Shanlan quickly realized, this is the magic of the undead system. Shi Xian stood in front of the woman, "It seems this room is a trap." One corpse continued to growl with distorted sounds, both of them simultaneously moved closer to the boy as if wanting to devour him. He had no time to react and could only scream. Shanlan rushed forward from behind, cursing, "Fool." His claws elongated, immediately carrying a force like electric threads. Just a light swipe, and he quickly sliced the corpses into pieces. This room contained traps. They were surrounded by people turned into vampires, not knowing who was who and feeling nothing anymore. Xia Shanlan was with Shi Xian, striking at them one by one. They moved gracefully, leaving them all trembling. The head of one of them fell with a thud, causing those nearby to flinch in fear. Though it had no life left, it still growled. One of the group turned around and said, "We need to get out of this room quickly." He saw something horrifying that frightened him. Behind Shi Xian, there was a shadow of a demoness. It seemed to want to drink his blood, it began to growl, its sharp fangs and the greedy look of wanting to devour its prey were truly disgusting. Li Luo Er turned around abruptly, seeing the demoness about to attack him, and shouted loudly, "A Xian, be careful." At that moment, Shi Xian finally noticed. He was panicked, unsure of how to react. What? The demoness lunged, biting into the person standing near Shi Xian, blood splattering everywhere. This ghost seemed very ravenous. The person it bit had their eyes wide open, screaming in agony. Shi Xian still didn't understand what was happening. What? The demoness bit a little and then slowly released it. It even stuck out its tongue, covered in blood. The person it had bitten on the neck had turned into a dry corpse lying flat on the floor in an instant. Li Luo Er was wide-eyed and astonished. It turned into a dry corpse already. This was still nothing compared to its bloodthirst. It licked its lips and looked toward Shi Xian. "You run pretty fast, Shi Xian." Shi Xian had no idea who this demoness was, yet it knew his name. "You know me?" It explained why it wanted to suck Shi Xian's blood. "I am entrusted by someone else to take your life. I will drain every drop of your fresh blood without leaving a single drop behind." As soon as it finished speaking, some force sliced its body in half, catching it off guard. Li Luo Er thought that would be enough to deal with it, and she was very happy. It worked. But the demoness gradually reattached the 2 halves of its body. "That won't kill me." Then it was whole again, from its body to its clothes. The demoness smugly said, "It seems I have to kill the son of the one who hired me too." Xia Shanlan was now more cautious. Could this name really be the assassin Tianju? So the assassin Tianju is actually from the demon clan. Shi Xian was also standing aside, analyzing this demoness. Such rapid healing ability, indeed unlike a human. Moreover, she drains the blood of others for sustenance. Suddenly, Shi Xian remembered something, Shui clan. The demoness was completely unconcerned with what they were thinking and only wanted to drain their blood. It's your turn to offer your blood now. Her long fingernail touched her tongue with her index finger. She was very thirsty for blood. Come on, it won't hurt at all. Xia Shanlan turned back to discuss with Shi Xian. Even if we team up, we are no match for her. We must quickly escape from this place. This time, it might be quite difficult to deal with this demoness. He was sweating profusely. Luo Er, we need to split up and escape. I will think of a way to lure her towards me. Luo Er seemed to dislike this solution because it was quite dangerous. That's too dangerous. You are no match for her either. But Shi Xian had his own plan, insisting that they trust him. I have my own way to deal with her for now. Then the three of them flew quickly in different directions in front of the demoness. Luo Er flew to the right, Shanlan soared upwards, while Shi Xian ran to the left. Yet the demoness showed no sign of concern. She began to conjure 3 round red orbs, her face icy cold. Escaping from my grasp is not so easy. Even if you separate and try to flee, I can knock all 3 of you down with a single strike. Shi Xian flew while resolutely trying to get her to follow him. I have to lure her over here, he said with a smug smile. Elder sister, do you want to know the news about the Su clan? Let me tell you. Upon hearing Shi Xian, the demoness appeared very flustered. Su clan. She stood there thinking for a long time, gritting her teeth. How does this guy know about the Su clan? The names of our 5 major clans are clearly not known to someone from the mainland. Then, without hesitation, she flew swiftly towards Shi Xian. Stop right there. As Shi Xian had predicted, she's chasing after me. She really is from the Shui clan. He began to recall the words of an elder. The elder assigned the hunt for the remnants of the Su clan is currently the primary mission of the Shui clan. We absolutely cannot let a Su clan member escape. It quickly chased after Shi Xian, shouting, "Stop." This demoness seemed quite confident in her strength, saying, "With your cultivation, you won't escape from my grasp." Shi Xian was surprised by how fast she was pursuing him, so fast. At that moment, he reached into his pocket. Luckily, I was prepared. He threw something towards the demoness. Take this. The demoness stopped, caught what he threw, and disdainfully said, "Foolish, hidden weapons have no effect on me." When she opened her hand, it turned out to be just a clove of garlic. Ha! The demoness shouted, her eyes nearly popping out. Garlic. Shi Xian chuckled. It worked. The demoness fell to the ground after seeing the garlic, retching uncontrollably. She was furious, not understanding how Shi Xian could know this weakness. Damn it, where did this little guy come from? How does he know the Shui clan's weakness? When she looked up, Shi Xian was nowhere to be seen, completely gone. In a place like this, the demoness thought that no matter how far he ran, she would still catch him. You can't escape my 5-finger mountain. Then she ran off to find him. With each step gently placed down, it realized that this area was filled with advanced formations, making it somewhat difficult to run. This foggy swamp is formed by high-level formations, and based on the cultivation of that little guy, it's absolutely impossible to escape from here. It spoke while walking to coax Shi Xian into surrendering and coming out. Come out quickly. If you can tell me something related to the Su clan, I might spare your life. Suddenly, something sharp was hurtling down from the sky, but it was moving so fast that it couldn't see clearly what it was. The ghost thought it was Yi Xian. Has it appeared? It turned out to be a wooden stake flying at high speed. At that moment, it realized, a wooden stake. Reacting quickly, it dodged the stake. The stake plunged hard into the ground, causing the earth to tremble and leaving a large hole. Shi Xian, standing behind, was channeling his power. It wondered how Shi Xian could set a trap so quickly in such a short time. How could this guy create a trap so fast? Shi Xian roared. Shi Xian charged fiercely towards the demoness. Die. Reflexively, it turned around and saw Shi Xian about to attack it, so it spun back and slapped him while cursing, "Idiot." It saw its prey right in front of its eyes. "You can't escape." It tightened its grip around Shi Xian's neck. Catching Shi Xian, it burst into a delighted laugh. "Quick, tell me, how do you know about the Su clan?" It growled at Shi Xian. "Alright, I'll tell you." At that moment, for some reason, Shi Xian puffed up his cheeks. He blew something straight into the face of the demoness. This made the demoness scared, causing tears to stream down her face. She had to let go of Shi Xian because she couldn't stand the smell of this gas. This gas. Then Shi Xian told the demoness what it was. "To deal with you, I chewed 10 cloves of garlic. Watch this move." He seized the opportunity and punched the demoness, knocking her to the ground. The demoness was left aching all over. She got back up, her face filled with anger as she searched for Shi Xian. "Little guy, dare to play with me." But when she looked up, there was no one there, just an empty field. She angrily bared her fangs. "Damn it." She erupted, her power causing the sky to tremble. "Get out here." Her voice echoed through the mountains, piercing through the small ravines. It made the very ground shake and tremble. Luo Er returned out of concern for Yi Xian. "The ground is shaking. Has a Xian started fighting that monster?" She couldn't just let him fight alone and run away. "I can't let a Xian fight the monster by himself." Then she flew off to find Yi Xian. "I will go help him." In the sky now, the demoness was still flying swiftly in search of Yi Xian. Lightning struck across the sky. While flying, the demoness suddenly stopped. "Fog?" She wondered, not understanding why she saw fog here. Why is there fog in this place? Could it be caused by a formation? Then she continued searching for Shi Xian, no longer paying attention to the fog. It must be that the demon's physical body has broken into the academy there. Suddenly, a magical barrier blocked the demoness. "What is this?" She reached out to touch the barrier. A barrier of the formation. She angrily summoned her demonic powers. Thunder crashed in the sky, creating a terrifying scene. Daring to set up a barrier in the territory of Heavenly Net Dao Academy, she wanted to destroy this formation. "Break it for me." Then the two forces clashed, pushing the demoness away. She looked down, still unsure if it had been effective. Is it effective now? Yet this formation was completely unharmed, which made him furious. And it is completely undamaged. Embarrassed that his power could not break it, he was also angry. "I don't believe this formation is strange. What kind of formation in this world can Tianju not break?" He was determined not to be discouraged, instead channeling a power many times greater than before. He used his strength again, hoping to break that formation. Ah! Luo Er flew over many mountains just to find Shi Xian. Luo Er shouted loudly, searching for him in that vast mountain area. "A Xian, where are you?" Suddenly, Luo Er felt a chill run down her spine, and she became anxious. The demoness wrapped her arms around Luo Er's neck. She whispered in Luo Er's ear, "Little girl, be good and don't try to move too much, otherwise there will be more than a few cuts on your neck." She held her not out of a thirst for her blood, but to scare Shi Xian. "Little guy, come out here quickly, or your little friend will turn into a pile of bones." Shi Xian stood on a branch looking down, confused about what to do. He gritted his teeth, very worried about Luo Er but unsure how to resolve the situation. Luo Er was again at her mercy, but right now, going out would definitely mean death, without a doubt. The demoness still couldn't see Shi Xian, and turned to mock Luo Er. "It seems your man has abandoned you." She opened her mouth, baring her fangs, intending to bite Luo Er's neck. "Then I won't hold back any longer." At that moment, Shi Xian threw 3 cloves of garlic at the demon. "Hey, catch this." This time, the garlic had no effect on her. She was too familiar with Shi Xian's tactic and smugly said, "Garlic again? The same trick won't work on me." She released Luo Er, letting her fall freely, then breathed fire at Shi Xian. This time, the demoness certainly wouldn't let Shi Xian escape again. "Finally, you've shown up. I won't give you a chance to run away a second time." Then Shi Xian took out a knife from his pocket. "Try this." As the demoness reached out to choke Shi Xian, he stabbed the knife straight through her hand. She felt no pain and retorted to Shi Xian, a dagger. Fearless, she pushed Shi Xian away. Get lost. That knife had no effect on this demoness. What a fool. If you want to use weapons to hurt me, my regeneration ability is not afraid of these things. Shi Xian was pushed back, falling painfully. I can't hurt you. But there was something Shi Xian wanted the demoness to know. Look at your hand first before you speak, the demoness said, confused. What nonsense are you talking about? Something was dripping to the ground, sizzling with the knife. The demoness looked down at her arm, which was gradually melting away. What? She shouted in panic, her face showing some fear. My arm is melting. Bits and pieces were oozing out, emitting smoke. How is this possible? Could it be? She recalled what had pierced her hand. She analyzed carefully. It was a silver dagger just now. There was one more detail that Shi Xian would reveal to her. Not just silver, but it also has a layer of garlic on it. Someone had carefully instructed Shi Xian on how to deal with monsters like this demoness. Fortunately, Sister Foam left behind all the weaknesses and methods to deal with the 5 clans in the ring. The demoness was very curious about how someone like Shi Xian knew so many weaknesses. How do you know our clan's weaknesses? Who are you really? Shi Xian set a condition. If the demoness wants to know, why not defeat me first and then ask? Its power doesn't affect me much. Even if I'm injured, I can handle it easily. But Shi Xian wasn't fighting alone. He had teammates, Luo Air. They were determined to capture this demoness. Now let's work together to catch her. With both of us cooperating, we can definitely catch her. Leave it to me. The demoness' hand continued to bleed. She grasped it, but it had no effect. Damn it, the wound keeps melting away. I can't fight at all. Am I really going to fall here today? She felt that if she stubbornly stayed, she might be beaten badly. Thinking about the escape, it seems I can only retreat for now. Once my wounds heal, I can look for that little guy again later. Without hesitation, she took off, fleeing from Shi Xian and Luo Air. Having finally weakened the demoness a bit, Shi Xian didn't want to let her escape. I can't let her run away like this. If she recovers, it will be a big problem. Shi Xian wanted to take the opportunity to kill her. Kill her while she's injured. He instructed before leaving, Luo Air, wait for me here, I'll go and come back. Luo Air was worried about him, urging him to be careful, be careful. Shi Xian reassured her and went to find the demoness. Don't worry, I'll be fine. The demoness was using all her strength to escape, but then she collapsed. She suddenly realized that the more she ran, the more her wounds hurt. Running like this only worsens the injury. I need to stop that brat chasing after me first. She put a finger to her mouth and bit down hard, letting a drop of blood fall to the ground. A formation gradually appeared. Shi Xian sensed an aura nearby and landed on the ground immediately. The aura was clearly here just now. Why has it disappeared? The fog seems to have lifted as well. Suddenly, something surrounded the spot where Shi Xian was standing, enveloping him as if wanting to swallow him whole. Shi Xian was confused. What is this? It was a trap set by the demoness, and she was quite pleased. This time, you can't escape. Shi Xian realized he had been careless. I let my guard down. The demoness really wanted to kill him. I must say, you are the most outstanding young person I have ever met. I feel a bit reluctant to kill you. However, if you have information about the Su clan, still unwilling to speak, then I can only extract memories from your corpse. But Shi Xian showed no fear. He challenged the demoness, then come and try. Shi Xian slashed the knife at the demoness, but the red power caused the knife to melt. Shi Xian was worried as he couldn't use this move. The silver has melted. This time, the demoness was more cautious, not giving Shi Xian a chance to seize her weakness. My blood-melting great formation has no weaknesses like the Shui clan. Let's see what you can do now. Shi Xian was on guard, unsure of how to proceed. Blood-melting great formation. A formation formed from the original spirit of the Shui clan. Are you looking to risk your life? The demoness began to channel her power, targeting Shi Xian. A drop of blood from her power hit Shi Xian's face, causing him to feel a sharp sting on his skin. Seeing this, the demoness was very pleased. How does it feel? Shi Xian refused to back down, using his power to counter the demoness. Great Sun and Moon Yin-Yang Classic, 10 times the power. That force shot upward, with the two powers clashing fiercely. It seemed the demoness was gradually losing her advantage. This feeling is a technique of the Su clan. Shi Xian took a leap into the air. The demoness had realized his strength. That's right, die. But the demoness changed the situation. It attacked Shi Xian more fiercely, naive. It transformed into thick ropes that wrapped tightly around Shi Xian and lifted him up. It's over. The demoness was quite pleased to see Shi Xian caught by her. Got you. Shi Xian was spinning around, lying helplessly inside. That power turned into a perfectly round red orb. It spoke to Shi Xian, now I will extract your soul and take your memories. The demoness moved closer, touching the red orb. Shi Xian was in a passive state, unsure of what to do. This time, the demoness was very pleased. Inside my blood, your body hasn't even melted yet, you are quite resilient. But then Shi Xian, with his bright golden eyes, unleashed a power that could shatter the red orb, leaving the demoness frozen in place. The red orb shattered, forcing the demoness to be pushed back. It exploded with a bang, enveloping the surrounding space in red. Then, from the smoke, Shi Xian appeared with his golden wings. The demoness was quite surprised. What is this? Shi Xian appeared with some kind of golden light behind him. The light behind? Could it be? The demoness began to suspect what it was. Man divine body. Shi Xian hovered in the air with his golden wings. The demoness still couldn't understand how it could appear here. The man tribe body that Su clan's master sealed has appeared here. Shi Xian looked at his own body, murmuring something. Am I still in the body of this little guy? It seems I have slept for a very long time. The demoness was very frustrated because Shi Xian had powers she did not possess. The man divine body has its own consciousness. It seems it is not like what the elders said. Shi Xian looked at the demoness without any emotion. Thanks to you, I have awakened from the consciousness of this little guy. However, since my divine soul has merged with this little guy's, my stance is to kill you. This only made the demoness more eager to kill Shi Xian. If I can obtain the man divine body, I can lead the death tribe and dominate this world. She charged at Shi Xian. He did not back down. Instead, he unleashed the power in his eyes, causing the demoness' strength to turn back and control her. The power of Shi Xian enveloped the sky in a dazzling shade of yellow. It radiated, causing the demoness to exclaim in awe, the light is so warm. Then the yellow light exploded, leaving the demoness unable to react in time. It detonated with such force that it shook the mountain, rising in smoke like fog, rendering everything invisible. Shi Xian was shocked to the point of collapsing onto the ground where she had been injured. Meanwhile, Guyu Xiong was still struggling with the difficult formation. Growing impatient, she decided to take a risk. I'll go for it. She leaned forward to punch the formation hard, but it suddenly vanished, causing her to stumble. Yi Xiong was confused. What just happened? She stood frozen for a moment. The formation is gone. Yi Xiong was trying to figure out why the formation had disappeared. Did the caster leave? Or is something else happening? She looked around. Even the fog has disappeared. But regardless of who had trespassed on her territory, she would not let it go. No matter who dares to cause trouble in my domain, I will not forgive them. She flew off to find out who the audacious one was. Wait for me. After the battle with the demoness, the ground had sunk, creating a large pit. Shi Xian was lying unconscious down there. At that moment, Shanlan flew to find him and was quite startled to see him lying like that. Still alive? How could he survive the hands of the assassin Tianju? Shanlan intended to tear Shi Xian apart, but he hesitated. This little guy is destined to be a hidden disaster for my Xia family in the future. Killing him now might not be the right choice. At the same time, in the sky, Yi Xiong happened to fly by and saw Shanlan with Shi Xian there. Shanlan and Yi Xiong knew each other, and he greeted her, Grand Elder, you are here too. She was quite surprised to see Shanlan here. It's you, Xia Shanlan. The two of them began to exchange words. You came to find Shi Xian for revenge, did you kill him? Shan Lan explained to his elder, I only came to free him from the pursuit of Tianju. If it were for revenge, I wouldn't act here. They looked toward Shi Xian. Moreover, this little guy isn't dead, his aura is very stable, it seems he is merely in a coma. The Grand Elder, upon hearing this, was very curious, the assassin Tianju, where is he then? But Shi Xian had already dealt with the person they were talking about. However, it seems that the assassin Tianju has already been taken care of by Shi Xian. She wondered, that assassin Tianju can set up such a powerful formation, their strength is probably not much less than mine, yet this little guy managed to deal with them. How did he do it? She began to feel uncertain, however, I must ask. Was that assassin Tianju invited by your father? She questioned Shan Lan, you are helping someone your father wants to kill, what exactly is your goal? Shan Lan smiled wryly and replied to the elder, well, I am just maintaining the justice of our academy. Suddenly, from underground, the demoness emerged and laughed loudly, sounds nice, doesn't it? At this moment, the two of them were still discussing something and didn't pay much attention. The assassin Tianju is her, the demoness hissed, as long as I have a little flesh and blood left, I can recover, killing me won't be that easy. She saw Yi Xiong, her face filled with satisfaction, you are Guyu Yi Xiong. That's great. The fresh blood of someone of your level will definitely help me fully recover. Yi Xiong couldn't take in what she was saying, you want my blood? Interesting. I haven't heard such words in hundreds of years. Yi Xiong taunted the demoness, you want blood? Then come and take it. She assigned the task to Shan Lan. You take Shi Xian away first, leave this place to me. He complied and helped Shi Xian up, alright. Yi Xiong would make the demoness taste defeat, this guy will pay for underestimating our heavenly net Dao Academy. Then Shan Lan took Shi Xian out of that place. Now Yi Xiong provoked the demoness again, now it's just the two of us, come on. She charged at Yi Xiong, die. Yi Xiong remained calm as he summoned his power, heavenly net secret technique, mysterious binding wind spell. But she thought she was acting too slowly, you're too late to form the seal now. Yi Xiong opened his eyes and fought against the demoness. Talisman writing appeared, boom. The assassin Tianju was bound, crack. She arrogantly turned back, hey, take me seriously. Is this just scratching an itch? Suddenly realizing something, she looked at the talisman writing on her body, no, these are, talisman writings. Yi Xiong flicked his fingers, saying, these talisman writings will turn every inch of flesh and blood on your body to ash, let's see how you can find a way to reincarnate again. The talisman writings slowly penetrated the body of assassin Tianju, puff puff. She was in pain. She clenched her teeth tightly as she felt the talisman writing enter her body. This is bad. Her body began to slowly disintegrate, crumbling apart. Puff. Then, in an instant, she turned completely into dust. How could this be? Yi Xiong casually snapped her fingers with a snap, saying coldly, turn to powder. She furrowed her brows in concern. Though we've eliminated the greatest threat, this entire trial has been ruined. What am I supposed to say to senior sister on the other side? With that, she swooshed into the sky, muttering, guess I'll have to come up with some excuse to fool her. At the sight of the explosion, the smoke gradually dispersed, revealing a barren pit of scattered rocks. Thin wisps of energy began to rise from the ground. Suddenly, the earth trembled, stones flung into the air as a powerful force surged upward. Bit by bit, those wisps of energy gathered into a massive current, taking on a clearer form. Crack! Thunder roared across a sky thick with dark clouds. Thud thud thud, Luo Air came running up. Standing at the edge of the pit, she said, this must be the place where the explosion happened. She looked around in confusion. The mists cleared. A Xian must have defeated that female demon leader, but where is a Xian now? With worry in her eyes, she slowly stepped down into the crater. Walking and calling out, a Xian, where are you? Next to her, a stream of black energy appeared, whoosh. The energy laughed strangely behind her, haha. Luo Air jumped and turned around, who is it? But at that moment, the energy entered her body, whoosh. The black energy gradually took over her body. Suddenly, she opened her eyes, her gaze red and looking very frightening. Perhaps that energy was the assassin Tianju. She had entered Luo Er's body. Shi Xian. At the same time, in the city, Shi Xian groggily woke up. At this moment, Shanlan walked in. You're awake. Shi Xian couldn't remember anything. He asked Xia Shan, what happened? He frowned, looking uncomfortable. After you fought, you fainted. The Grand Elder had me bring you back. Shi Xian pulled back the blanket and, confused, asked, so why am I stripped like this? Where are my clothes? He turned and walked away. Your clothes were too dirty, so I threw them away. If you're fine now, I'll take my leave. Take care of yourself, and after you recover, I'll personally come to kill you. Shi Xian was furious upon hearing this. What? You threw them away? Seeing him slam the door and leave, Shi Xian clenched his fists in anger and shouted, from now on, you are not allowed to come here anymore, or I won't be polite to you. Then he lay down helplessly. That damn guy, I only have one set of clothes. How am I supposed to go out tomorrow? After that, he brushed this aside and raised an eyebrow in thought. But wait, what really happened back then? My memory seems a bit hazy. Then he suddenly sat up. But I remember that I personally killed that demoness. He looked at his hand. I feel like there is another self still existing within me. He recalled his majestic appearance, the two wings sprouting from his back, powerful yet dangerous. Suddenly, the veins in his hand bulged, his hand stiffened, and some kind of power seemed to surge forth. This is bad, it seems that guy is awakening again. Damn it, my consciousness has been seized. Shi Xian struggled to suppress the power within him, but at this moment, it seemed that the wings behind him were starting to appear. If I want to keep my consciousness, I must not let the one inside my body out. His whole body tensed up, his teeth clenched. Ugh, I can still hold on. He shouted, don't show up. But he couldn't control himself. Through the windows, a very bright light shone from inside the room. Ah! Finally, that power faded away, it didn't fully erupt. He sat there, panting heavily, phew, phew, phew. At the same time, there was suddenly a knock on the door outside, bang bang, a Xian, what's wrong with you? Hearing the familiar voice, Shi Xian was startled. Luo Er. The door opened, and a foot stepped in. I'm coming in. Luo Er, wearing pajamas, walked in. Shi Xian quickly pulled the blanket over himself, forcing a smile. Luo Er, I'm fine, but right now I'm a bit uncomfortable. Could you help me find some clothes? Hearing this, the assassin Tianju in the form of Luo Er smiled wickedly. Isn't it better without clothes? Noticing her strange attitude, Shi Xian asked, Luo Er, what's wrong with you? She then pulled her shirt down to reveal her slender shoulders. A Xian. She said seductively, we've known each other for so long, it's time to get to know each other better, don't you think? Seeing this, he was taken aback. Luo Er, what are you doing? She spread her arms and said to him, so, you are also very interested in my body, aren't you? At this moment, Shi Xian remained very alert. No, Luo Er wouldn't do that. The assassin Tianju, in the form of Luo Er, noticed his suspicion and sweetly said, I am the real Luo Er. Saying that, she walked over to the bed and propped herself up on one elbow. You can verify it for yourself. Shi Xian stammered and backed away. Luo Er. He panicked. Luo Er, let's talk slowly. She spoke in a seductive tone. A Xian, tonight I want to be yours. She moved closer to Shi Xian. Don't be shy, we are both adults. She leaned in close to his ear and whispered, let's have a little fun together. Shi Xian scoffed. Humph. Suddenly, she took the opportunity to bite him. Chomp chomp. Shi Xian was startled by this action. He jumped back, completely naked, and quickly retreated. Shi Xian raised his hand to the wound on his shoulder. You are not Luo Er. Then he shot her an angry look. Who are you? Why are you in Luo Er's body? She sat on the bed, leaning forward to adjust her outfit. How disgusting, you've forgotten me so quickly. She licked her lips and looked up. Sure. Shi Xian, we meet again. He frowned. You are that blood-sucking demoness, you haven't died yet. She closed her eyes. Demoness. Oh dear, that's really hard to hear. Suddenly, she leaped forward, embracing him in a reunion hug. Shi Xian, annoyed, raised his fist. Damn it. Then he swung his fist at her, whoosh. However, just as he was about to throw the punch, he hesitated, thinking. No, this is Luo Air's body. Seeing this, she smiled slyly. Why did you stop? Not going to hit me anymore. Then, taking the opportunity, she launched an attack. Fool, really a compassionate lady. He was knocked back, crashing into the wall. Thud. And she stood there, mocking. Where did your heroic stance go? You're looking pathetic now. Shi Xian gasped for breath and got up. What should I do to drive this demoness out of Luo Air's body? The divine body within him spoke up. Fool, someone like you is not worthy to be the host of my true self. Shi Xian was filled with confusion. Who is it? Who is speaking within my body? The man divine body spread its wings and said, This is our first meeting, the true form of the man divine lord. He pondered drowsily, is it the one inside my body? You can actually talk. The man divine body replied, this is thanks to that enchantress, otherwise, would still be dormant. It seems this time you'll have to rely on me to help you out. The assassin Tianju within Luo Air's body looked at Shi Xian in confusion. Why are you talking to yourself? Are you scared, silly? Then she approached and said, since you've given up resistance, I will let you go in peace. She raised her hand above his head, whoosh, it won't hurt. She smugly declared, your man divine body now belongs to me. Streams of power rushed through her fingertips. Behind Shi Xian, a source of light appeared, whoosh. The man divine body within him broke free, demon physical body of the Shui clan, how arrogant. Although its form was unclear, just being a source of light was enough to exude a terrifying power. Do you think you deserve to have me just based on your strength? She looked up, wide-eyed, what is this? She now appeared very small, the man divine body. She was full of anxiety. The man divine body can appear on its own. The man divine body growled, get out of that woman's body for me. With the immense power of the man divine body, the assassin Tianju was expelled from Luo Air's body. She was completely surprised, what is happening? You can separate me from that little girl's body? The man divine body then summoned a large power sphere. Since I couldn't kill you, I will refine your soul. She still hadn't grasped what was happening. What? Just like that, she was dissipated. And then her soul was wrapped in that power sphere. The sphere fell down, turning into a small pill. The pill fell beside Luo Air, who was lying unconscious on the floor. Shi Xian hurriedly ran over, Luo Air. The man divine body slowly shrank in form, don't worry, she's fine, just in a coma. Then, the man divine body gradually transformed into the shape of a boy. Seeing this scene, Shi Xian was astonished, how come? The man divine body in this new form is a boy. Little guy, who are you calling a little child? Shi Xian mumbled and said, if this form isn't a little child, then what is it? The little boy pointed and said, hey, I am the ancient man god, you must be respectful when speaking to me. Meanwhile, Shi Xian was still full of doubts and questions, ancient man god, why are you in my body? The little boy looked up, reminiscing about the past, and said, I am the true form of the man god, who, 100,000 years ago, was with your master Yen Su Zi from the Su clan. Although I have a deep-seated grudge against your Su clan, I will not make things difficult for a junior like you. Let our grievances end here. Shi Xian looked down at the little boy, so, you are the old man who has lived for over 100,000 years. The little boy boastfully replied, that's right, I am your senior. If you bow to me, I can teach you a few ultimate techniques, and you will gain many useful things. Shi Xian, however, looked annoyed, you damn brat, dare to deceive me. He immediately punched the little boy on the head, you occupy my body and dare to make me kneel. Take this punch. After being hit hard, the little boy grimaced and stuck out his tongue, ouch. As soon as he hit the little boy, a similar force descended upon Shi Xian's head. Bang! He cried out in pain, ouch. He had a large bump on his head. What happened here? Why was he hurt all by himself? The boy angrily shouted, you really are an idiot. Right now, you and I are one entity, if you die, I will die too. If I am hurt, you will be hurt as well. Otherwise, I would have killed you and run away myself. Shi Xian turned to ask, you are an ancient man god, so you must be very powerful, right? Can you help me level up my cultivation? The boy said, what appears before you now is just an illusion transformed from my divine soul, with power only 1/100th that of my true self. Leveling up cultivation. I can only suggest training for you. Then the boy pointed at Shi Xian, but most of the power is sealed within your body. The boy spoke enticingly, if you can make good use of this source of power, you will be the strongest person in the world. Hearing this, Shi Xian frowned and looked at his hand, do I really have such strong power within me? When can I harness it? The boy, looking like a little old man, glanced at Luo Er, wait until your cultivation reaches a certain realm before we talk. You carry this girl to the bed. I must continue to purge the demon energy from her body. Then the boy smirked, I can tell that this young lady likes you very much. Yet you remain indifferent and unmoved. It seems you haven't fully matured yet. The boy turned away, if this were the complete form of my true self, I would give you a lesson to show you my might. Behind him, Shi Xian clenched his fists, his eyes like bullets aimed at the boy, you little guy, I really want to beat you up. Luo Er was laid neatly on the bed. Shi Xian stood anxiously beside her, is she going to be okay? The boy replied, don't worry, I have completely purged the aura of the Shui clan's succubus from her body. When she wakes up, she won't remember anything. Then the boy looked out through the cracks in the door, it's almost dawn, I can't stay outside for too long, otherwise, the aura leaking out will be discovered by others. After saying that, the boy closed his eyes, flames roaring behind him, remember, no matter what, you must protect the secret of my existence. If it leaks out, it will bring disaster to you. You will have to hide for the rest of your life, never having a moment of peace. Then the boy entered Shi Xian's body again. Shi Xian seemed quite pleased. He looked at his hand and said, it seems I have reached the level of external strength. Do I still need to put in more effort? Inside his body, the boy replied, there's more, most of my time is spent in deep sleep. When danger arises, you should rely on yourself, don't just hope that I can save you. Hearing this, Shi Xian frowned, this. He sighed, damn kid, what do I need you for then? At that moment, a voice called from outside, Shi Xian, you're awake. A Xian anxiously looked toward the door, oh no, someone's coming again. Yi Xiong happily walked in, I have good news for you, you are now officially a disciple of the Heavenly Net Tao Academy. As she was speaking joyfully, she stopped abruptly at the sight before her, huh? She felt both shy and confused, not knowing what to say, this. Shi Xian awkwardly spoke up, good morning. Yi Xiong's gaze caught sight of Luo Er lying on the bed. She stood frozen, stammering and unable to say a word, then abruptly turned and slammed the door shut, sorry for the interruption. She left the room, not forgetting to close the door. Then she smiled, being young is enough. Inside the room, Shi Xian was still standing frozen in place. Oh no, I've misunderstood it completely. After that, he called out, Grand Elder, don't go, let me explain. He explained, what just happened was like this. But he had hidden the part about the man-divine body. Hearing him call, Yi Xiong turned back and entered. That demoness only has a soul left but can still use demonic power, it seems I was too careless. Then she looked at Luo Er, who was still lying unconscious. What about this girl now? Shi Xian looked at her, I have completely eliminated the remnants of demonic power from her body, she is fine now. She seemed to compliment him, that's good. Even for me, that demoness would require some effort, you could eliminate her so quickly? I truly admire you. Hearing this, he could only smile, Grand Elder is too kind, I was just lucky. He thought to himself, actually, it's all thanks to that little devil. She said, also, the director wants to see you, now dress properly and come with me to meet the director. Shi Xian shyly said, could you find me some clothes first? My clothes were thrown away by that little guy, Xia Shanlan. Yi Xiong helplessly presented a set of clothes. You wear this. Then she went outside. Once you're dressed, let's go meet the Grand Elder. Shi Xian took the outfit and smiled brightly, understood. Before she could leave, he hurriedly asked, Grand Elder, I still have something I want to ask. I wonder how Luo Air has been arranged. Hearing him call, she paused. Don't worry, she has officially joined the Heavenly Net Dao Academy now. I will arrange for her to become a disciple of the Elite Institute. He expressed his gratitude. Thank you, Grand Elder. A moment later, in the main hall. On the stairs, a foot was heard thumping up. It was Shi Xian. He walked in confidently, following Yi Xiong. I wonder why the Grand Elder wants to see me. She glanced back and replied, probably doesn't believe that someone so young could have such strength, wants to test you a bit. Upon hearing the word test, Shi Xian felt uneasy. Another test. I have a bad feeling about this. Inside the room, Ming Yi was standing next to the bookshelf. Yi Xiong brought Shi Xian over. Senior sister, you've arrived. Ming Yi turned around. You are Shi Xian. Shi Xian clasped his hands in greeting. Disciple Shi Xian pays respects to the Grand Elder. She looked him over and smiled. You are indeed very young, and yet you have already reached the original breath realm. Truly, you are an outstanding talent among the new disciples of Heavenly Net Dao Academy. He felt pleased to hear that, but maintained a humble demeanor. Oh no, I cannot accept such praise. She seemed quite fond of him, saying, it looks like at next year's 4 Academy Martial Arts Conference, our Heavenly Net Dao Academy will have another warrior. Upon hearing this, he was curious and asked, what is the 4 Academy Martial Arts Conference? Yi Xiong, standing nearby, chimed in, Senior Sister wants Shi Xian to participate in the 4 Academy Martial Arts Conference. Given his current strength, it might not be feasible. Seeing her strong reaction, Shi Xian became even more puzzled. What exactly is this 4 Academy Martial Arts Conference? Is it very dangerous? Yi Xiong frowned and explained, the 4 Academy Martial Arts Conference is a competition for new disciples organized by the 4 great Dao Academies every 10 years. The competition includes not only martial arts but also qi refinement, alchemy, and formations. She spoke in a very serious tone. Moreover, new disciples must reach the Origin Foundation realm to be eligible to participate. Your strength, no matter how high, would not withstand a single blow compared to someone at the Origin Foundation realm. Hearing this name, he repeated it with curiosity. Origin Foundation realm. He then turned to smile politely to decline. Director, I am currently only at the original breath realm, so I'm afraid I cannot take on that responsibility. Ming Yi smirked. Haha, don't be in a rush, there's still a whole year until the 4 Academy Martial Arts Conference. She spoke gently. As long as you reach the Origin Foundation realm in a year, along with the support of Tian Luo's secret techniques, achieving victory at the 4 Academy Martial Arts Conference will not be a problem. Shi Xian frowned. Reach the Origin Foundation realm within a year? What should I do to achieve that? Yi Xiong was helpless, utterly confused by his sister's thoughts. Senior sister, are you being foolish? It took us a whole year to advance from the original breath realm to the Origin Foundation realm back then. Ming Yi approached Shi Xian. In actual cultivation, even with the help of peak-level elixirs, it takes at least 4 years to advance from the original breath realm to the Origin Foundation realm. But if you are in a real combat situation, you can achieve it much faster. Shi Xian was still hazy and didn't understand. Real combat? She said, let's go to the heaven-forbidden battlefield. With your talent, if you can survive on the battlefield, you will definitely be able to level up your cultivation. Standing aside, Yi Xiong was stunned upon hearing this. Heaven-forbidden battlefield. Senior sister, do you want to take Shi Xian's life? Then she stepped forward to Shi Xian, fully opposing the idea of the senior sister. His current cultivation going to the heaven-forbidden battlefield is like looking for death. I will find another way for him to upgrade his cultivation. Ming Yi sighed. Haze, if there were another way, I would know better than you. Moreover, practical combat training is more effective than cultivation achieved in a training room. Shi Xian looked confused. Where is the heaven-forbidden battlefield? Yi Xiong turned back to explain to him, it is the border battlefield that is in a stalemate between our cultivation alliance and the army of cultivators from a different world. Worried for him, she strongly opposed, there is fighting all the time there, cultivators below the Origin Foundation realm basically cannot survive there. You absolutely must not go. Meanwhile, he was considering, for me, the most urgent thing now is to upgrade my cultivation level. With that little ghost by my side, I should be able to protect myself. After thinking it over, he spoke up in agreement. All right, I agree to go to the heaven-forbidden battlefield. Within a year, I can break through. Ming Yi was satisfied. You have courage. No wonder Gu Yu has taken an interest in you. She further emphasized, however, I must say in advance, if you encounter danger, Gu Yu and I cannot offer assistance. After a year, I will go to the heaven-forbidden battlefield to bring you back. Shi Xian had a confident expression. Don't worry, Dean, I will live to come back. Yi Xiong frowned helplessly. Haze, there's no way to deal with this little guy. Ming Yi urged, then you should go to the heaven-forbidden battlefield now. Surprised by the suddenness, he asked, am I leaving right now? She summoned her power as if to send him off immediately. If you don't go now, when will you wait? Before he could react, a circle of power surrounded his feet. Huh? He looked down in confusion. What is this? Then droplets of black water fell down, black water. And then he was sucked in. Ouch. He was pulled into an empty space within that dark water hole. Yi Xiong stood there in silence, observing. Then she turned to scold, Senior sister, you acted too quickly, you should at least let him prepare for a few days. She looked very worried as she reprimanded her senior sister. He knows nothing about the dangers of the heaven-forbidden battlefield, we should teach him some strategies to cope first. Ming Yi looked at her and said, where would we find the time to teach him? The Xia family must have already sent someone to the heaven-forbidden battlefield. If that little guy arrives a few days late, he might be ambushed by the Xia family. Yi Xiong was very surprised. How could the Xia family know that Shi Xian would go to the heaven-forbidden battlefield? Ming Yi glanced back. Of course, I told them. Hearing this, Yi Xiong showed his anger. What? Senior sister, are you crazy? Why would you do that? Ming Yi turned her back and walked towards the bookshelf. The demoness breaking into the academy might also have cultivation in the true essence realm. It would take a lot of effort for us sisters to deal with her, but that little guy Shi Xian, relying solely on his original breath realm cultivation, could defeat her easily. Then she pulled out a book. I think that little guy has a background and abilities that would definitely surprise others. The chaotic group of the Xia family is absolutely no match for him. She opened the book, her expression cunning. I want to use that little guy to wipe out the Xia family's influence and cleanse our academy. Plus, he might even achieve body refining. Isn't that a win-win situation? She seemed to have planned this beforehand. This way, I can use the excuse that the worthless Xia Lu chased him to the Heavenly Net Dao Academy to slaughter fellow disciples. She laughed wickedly and cunningly. Haha, Yi Xiong said, confused. Senior sister, it's like you're a villainess. She sighed, deep in thought. Shi Xian, it seems this time I have to rely on you. You must survive. Then she left. I'll go find the Xia family to cause some trouble and buy you some time. In another space, Shi Xian was falling freely. Damn it, he grimaced. Why hasn't it arrived yet? It's already been a stick of incense. He saw a passageway in the distance. He stared at the passageway. The exit. Outside must be the heaven-forbidden battlefield. He excitedly said, I'm descending, finally, after so long, I see the exit. Then he jumped out of that space. Thud, ouch. He crashed down hard onto the ground, causing dirt and dust to fly everywhere. Shi Xian fell face first onto the ground, looking very miserable. He slowly stood up, grimacing in discomfort. That hurt, they brought me here without saying a word. Then he stood up, brushing off the dust from his clothes. Anyway, I need to let Luo Er know. He looked around this place. It seems this is indeed the heaven-forbidden battlefield. It's so desolate and chilly. Suddenly, there was a loud explosion in front. Boom. Shi Xian exclaimed, there's a fierce battle going on ahead. He looked towards the front, where some kind of battle was taking place. Where should I go now? At the same time, inside the Heavenly Net Dao Academy, a subordinate entered. Master, I have selected a dozen or so late-stage experts of the original breath realm. We can set off for the heaven-forbidden battlefield now. Xia Lu, sitting above, said, with late-stage Origin Foundation realm experts, I feel very assured with you leading the team. However, you should also be careful. He frowned as he looked down. Grand Elder Guyu seems to be very concerned about Shi Xian. You must be cautious, she might create difficulties and disrupt our plans. The subordinate appeared very calculating. Rest assured, Master, I will divide them into 2 secret branches to head to the heaven-forbidden battlefield. Even the Grand Elder won't easily discover their movements. Xia Lu nodded in satisfaction. Very good, you should set off immediately. Also, the body of that little guy Shi Xian must be brought back. The subordinate clarified, I heard that the young master has a grudge against Shi Xian. Doesn't the young master want to personally kill that little guy? He spoke in a very unpleasant tone, seemingly looking down on Shi Xian's abilities. Shan Lan is preparing for the 4-institution martial arts conference next year, and has secluded himself for training, so he cannot be disturbed by trivial matters. The subordinate left. Understood, subordinate will depart immediately. Before Xia Lu's eyes, the subordinate vanished in an instant, while he sat there frowning as if sensing something. Humph. Then he leaned on the chair and straightened up. Have you arrived? He stood up and looked up, saying, why not stay for a cup of tea, Grand Elder? Above the beam of the house stood Yi Xiong. Humph. She landed very lightly. Thud. Xia Lu, standing above, said, the Grand Elder graces us with her presence. Xia Lu has been rude not to welcome you from afar. She got straight to the point. No need for pleasantries, Xia Lu. What do you mean by sending someone to kill my disciple? He laughed and replied, haha, Grand Elder is joking. As an inner court elder and the head of the law enforcement hall, I am merely carrying out punishment on a disciple who violated our sect's rules. She frowned, irritated, pointing out each issue. You brought a demonist to slaughter my sect, investigating the actions of my disciples. This is also a matter that the legal enforcement agency should handle. Struck by the truth, Xia Lu quickly denied it. The Grand Elder is baseless, don't slander me. Yi Xiong accused him, even your son, Xia Shan Lan, couldn't stand your behavior and has already told me about it. Hearing her say that, he couldn't argue back. This little guy really knows how to stand up to his father. At this point, he had no choice but to say, if that's the case, I don't know what else to hide. The assassin Tian Ju was indeed sent by me. However, I never expected to kill so many people. Now that it's come to this, what can you do to me? He triumphantly declared, the old ancestor of the Xia family has been in seclusion for 100 years, and he will return to the Tao Institute in a few days. Now he has reached the primordial spirit realm, and there is no one in the Tao Institute who can rival him. Upon hearing this, Yi Xiong understood the situation. Xia Xingkong is coming out. No wonder you've been so arrogant lately, even disregarding the head of the institute. He slowly walked towards the stairs. You sisters have kept the Tao Institute for so many years, it's time to hand over the authority. The purpose of the old ancestors' return this time is to seize control of the Tao Institute for the Xia family. She scoffed, humph, that's really laughable. Even if Xia Xingkong reaches the primordial spirit realm, do not forget. Our Heavenly Net Tao Academy also has a senior roaming the world in the original Void Realm. Based on every achievement, I dare to seize the position of Elder. Xia Lu stepped closer. Since its establishment, the Heavenly Net Tao Academy has stipulated who can sit in the position of Elder. Even if a senior from the original Void Realm returns, there will be no objections. Sisters, you might as well hand over the rights to me early, and I will be your Elder. I absolutely will not make things difficult for you. She closed her eyes, her brows tightly knitted, appearing quite angry. It seems you really want to rebel, aiming for the elder position, but you must first pass through me. Then from her hand, a spark of power appeared. Just like that, behind her, a large flame of power roared to life. Energy, come forth. Xia Lu took off his robe. I have long heard of the Grand Elder who has reached the late stage of yuaning cultivation, and I also want to test my strength against the Grand Elder. Yi Xiong threw a powerful punch and charged forward. Take this. Xia Lu was taken aback by her speed. So fast. She slammed her powerful punch down onto the floor. Fortunately, Xia Lu quickly dodged to the side. He was sweating profusely. Truly worthy of being the Grand Elder, this strike will surely kill him. She stood up and looked over. Dodging that was impressive. She kicked out powerfully, channeling that strength. With one blow, she kicked him hard, ha. Before he could react, he was sent flying, ouch. He landed on the ground, no longer the arrogant figure he had been moments ago. Xiao Lu gritted his teeth, thinking of a way, if I compete in strength and skill with her, I will likely be beaten to death, I must create distance from her. Then he used a spell, Great Compassion Black Yin spell. The orbs shot forward rapidly. They sped towards Yi Xiong. She simply raised her hand to conjure a shield, this is really disappointing. Thus, the orbs were deflected in all directions, whoosh, whoosh. With a tone full of disdain, she said, is this all you are capable of? Angered, Xiao Lu continued, Great Compassion Blazing Flame spell. Immediately, a circle beneath Yi Xiong ignited. She looked around in surprise, humph. From that circle, flames shot up high, forming a vortex, whoosh, whoosh. He looked down at the swirling flames. He furrowed his brows and stared intently. It might hurt her a little. As the flames gradually died down, only a hole remained. Xiao Lu was very surprised, where is the person? Suddenly, from above, Yi Xiong jumped down with her foot out, take a kick from me. He was surprised and tried to look up, humph. But before he could look up, she had already hit him on the head with a thud. He spat out blood from both his mouth and head, then he fell hard, face down into the ground. Xiao Lu fell flat on her face, with dust rising up. He, covered in scratches and wounds, stood up, ah, am I so far from this woman? Behind him, Yi Xiong looked at him with disdain, although you are in the late stage of yuaning cultivation, it's a pity you don't train often, your strength is pathetic. Then she raised her hand to strike him again. I follow the rules, I will disable your cultivation first. Just as her hand was about to touch him, a voice suddenly echoed from above, stop. Then, somehow, it exploded with a bang, rocks and dirt flew everywhere. Yi Xiong looked up in confusion, what? Suddenly, a powerful force rushed towards her. She was pushed away, ah. She slid away very far. She frowned in annoyance, who is it again? Is the Xia family still an expert? The figure stepped out from behind the light, his tone filled with disappointment, Xiao Lu, you have completely tarnished the Xia family's reputation. Xiao Lu immediately recognized who it was. He looked surprised, it's you. Yi Xiong glanced over and said, is that Xia Xingkong? Xiao Lu staggered to his feet and walked over, old ancestor, aren't you supposed to be gone for a few more months? It's so fast that you. She frowned, appearing annoyed, you fool, if I were not still alive, you would be killed by others. Yi Xiong raised his voice, Xia Xingkong, as a senior, how dare you openly rebel? Have you forgotten the oath you made before my master? She chuckled softly and said, do you Yi Xiong, it's been a long time. The last time we met, you were still a child, and in the blink of an eye, hundreds of years have passed. It's a pity that your master has gone missing in the Great War with the alien cultivators, it really is a regret. She lowered her head, her voice becoming somber, yes, it's been hundreds of years. If the master were still here, how would you dare to rebel? Then she looked up, although my cultivation is not as good as yours, you want to usurp my senior sister's position. Right after that, she tiptoed up and said, I will risk my life to stop you. She raised her hands to summon her power, looking fearless, come here. Then she jumped from above, intending to dive down at Xia Xingkong, but Xia Xingkong did not dodge or show any fear, she calmly stood there. Are you going all out? A nascent soul stage can have such momentum, truly impressive. Meanwhile, Yi Xiong was unleashing her power right in front of her. She merely said softly, ah. Outside, thunder roared, the sky turned dark, and black clouds gathered. Mingyi stepped outside and looked up, the lightning strike is created by true qi. She seemed to realize something, furrowing her brows in worry, junior sister, what on earth has happened? At this moment, in the inner courtyard of the Heavenly Net Dao Academy, Yi Xiong was bound by Xia Xingkong. She was tightened to the point of suffocation, cough cough cough. Xia Xingkong closed her eyes, controlling the orb in her hand, give up resisting. I do not wish to harm your sister, just hand over the power to the Xia family. Yi Xiong stubbornly refused, you must be dreaming, if you want to kill me, just do it. Xia Lu, standing to the side, said, "Old ancestor, quickly kill her and eliminate future troubles." She pretended to be very righteous, while also being hypocritical. "I don't want to bear the crime of killing fellow disciples." She winked, and a red light sparkled in her eyes. "I have my own way to subdue her." Meanwhile, Yi Xiong was gritting his teeth, enduring this torment. At that moment, in the heaven-forbidden battlefield, in some cave, a flicker of light appeared. It was Shi Xian, who was sitting in meditation. He sighed, whoosh. Black mist flowed from his mouth, and power swirled around him. Suddenly, these powers sharpened like thorns. They were controlled and manipulated by Shi Xian. He smiled brightly with delight, finally reached the first level of the Origin Foundation realm. The spiritual energy in the heaven-forbidden battlefield is indeed abundant. In just 7 short days, I have been able to break through. No wonder the principal wanted me to come here. Suddenly, his stomach growled, gurgle, gurgle. He frowned and thought gloomily, "I'm so hungry, I've been here for many days without a meal. I should have rummaged through the bodies of the dead cultivators to prepare some food in my storage ring." Then he looked outside his cave. There are many cultivators fighting outside. It's really too dangerous to go out looking for food. Suddenly, the cave shook violently, dust falling down. Having been here for a while, he realized that this was probably a fight between someone. There are people fighting outside again. I wonder how many more will die. After thinking for a moment, he stood up and went outside to see what was happening. Maybe I can find some rations. Because the entrance to the cave was narrow, he had to crawl out. When he reached the cave entrance, he noticed something. Outside, 3 colorful streaks were quickly passing by in the sky. It turned out to be 3 people chasing each other. Whoosh, whoosh. The 2 behind accelerated in pursuit. "Little girl, stop right there." That was Huoling Zi. She irritably glanced back, "Stop following me already." Then she turned around, spread her arms, and used her strength to fly faster. "I have to think of a way to get away from them." One of the pursuers unleashed his power, "Get down." Suddenly, her flying shield exploded with a bang, and she jumped out. She cried out, "Ouch!" Right after that, she landed heavily, thud. She seemed to be seriously injured and coughed up blood, cough, cough, cough. The other 2 immediately flew down after her, whoosh, whoosh. They are disciples of the Shan Wu Dao Academy. "Got you." She grimaced and glanced back. "Oh no, is there no way to escape?" The man slowly approached. "Demonis, this time your magic weapon armor is destroyed, let's see how you can run away now." She immediately unleashed a spell, Flame Talisman. He easily waved it away, smirking, "How pathetic, is that all you can do, just use talismans?" His face showed clear depravity. "Let me show you how I deal with a demoness like you." At the cave entrance, Shi Xian felt indignant and couldn't just stand by. 2 men dealing with a weak woman, I can't just stand by this time. He decisively jumped out, "I must save her." At that moment, Ling Zi was kicked hard by them. Ah! She fell flat on the ground. The man raised his hand to unleash power towards her. "Demoness, die." As that power rushed towards her quickly, another source of strength countered it. Thus, the man was thrown back. Ah! The other one looked on in shock. This man frowned in anger, someone is helping her. At this moment, Shi Xian was standing next to Ling Zi. Shi Xian threw a punch. Bullying a weak girl, how can that be considered a hero? On the other side, that guy also raised his fist, "Demon physical body from another realm like you, go die." Just as the attack came rushing in, he managed to dodge the demon physical body from another realm. Then, he kicked straight into the guy's stomach. "You are the ones who should be ashamed." He fell backward, crashing to the ground. He grumbled, "Damn it, I ran into an expert." Then he stood up and shouted, "Little guy, don't get too proud, our Shan Wu Academy will not let you off." Hearing this, Shi Xian was momentarily confused, Manhwa Academy. Oh no, my people. After that, the two of them flew away. If you're tough, don't run, I'll call for help. Watching them leave, he could only let out a surprised sound, looking somewhat worried. Those two are from Manhwa Academy, so who is this girl? Over here, Hualing Zi's eyes sparkled, so handsome. She smiled brightly, thank you, young master, for your help. Then, she ran over and hugged him tightly. The little girl has nothing to repay you with, but I am willing to listen to your commands, young master. Shi Xian awkwardly replied, no need, I don't know where you are a disciple from. After that, she introduced herself, this young lady is a disciple of the Tianji sect, named Hualing Zi. Upon hearing this, he couldn't help but be startled, thinking to himself, Tianji sect? Could it be a cultivator from another realm? He turned away, secretly crying, oh no, I've become a traitor. The first time I act here, I've already attacked my own kind. On this side, Hualing Zi eagerly asked, may I know which senior brother sect the young master belongs to? What is your esteemed name? He laughed heartily and replied, I am Tian. Suddenly, he realized something, it would be better not to reveal my identity to avoid causing trouble. Then he switched to another title, I am Lin Xian, a casual cultivator. She couldn't help but wonder, a casual cultivator. May I ask what brings the young master to the heaven-forbidden battlefield? This place is a battleground for the conflict between the Zhenxian Alliance and the Xiuzhen Alliance. Here, he thought, the Zhenxian Alliance is the main target I need to deal with this time. Although I haven't had any conflicts with the Zhenxian Alliance so far, she added, if the young master has no sect, why not join our Tianji sect? Tianji sect, it seems I've heard of it, but I am a cultivator from the mainland Xiuzhen. Can I really join your sect? Don't worry, the Tianji sect has never restricted the backgrounds of its disciples. Moreover, our Tianji sect is one of the top 3 major sects in the Zhenxian mainland. After the young master joins, he will surely achieve great success. The boy's expression was hesitant, as a disciple of the Xiuzhen mainland, how can I join the enemy's forces? I should just refuse her. Then he smiled lightly, thank you for your kindness, but I still don't want to. Suddenly, an attack rushed straight towards them. This caused both of them to be knocked away, and debris flew everywhere. After the attack ended, it left a large smoking crater. Seeing the attacks in the sky, Shi Xian worriedly said, someone is coming. Ling Zi was also stunned, it's those people from earlier, they found someone to take revenge so quickly. Just as she said, they had brought someone with them. Uncle, it's those two people. Uncle looked towards Shi Xian and the other two, is it those two little brats with milk breath who injured you like this? It's truly embarrassing for our Shang Wudao Institute. The boy's face turned pale, this is bad, I can't get into a conflict with them. Ling Zi shouted, they even dared to call for help. To teach us. Shi Xian's face darkened as he thought, indeed, watching the excitement without fear of getting into trouble. Then, he grabbed Ling Zi's hand, the best plan is to run away. With that, he pulled her to run. Run faster. She was startled, aren't we fighting? Up ahead, they saw him smiling lightly, want to run? Then, he launched an attack, little guy, stop right there. You two insects are in my hands, you can't escape. Not stopping there, he continued to unleash a breakthrough attack. The wave of cultivation quickly chased after them, exploding the ground and sending the two flying. Shi Xian gritted his teeth, we can't escape like this. He struggled to stand firm against the shockwave of the attack, his brows furrowing. If we can't escape like this, we have to think of a way to make them suffer a bit before they give up hunting us. Then he soared up, just in time to test how far my cultivation in the Origin Foundation realm has progressed. In front of him, he gathered his energy, preparing to strike. Seeing the little guy daring to confront him, he only let out a cold laugh, the little guy really is bold and reckless. Cultivation is only at the Origin Foundation realm, yet you dare to take the initiative to strike. Seeing your attack coming, Uncle sneered, let me show you how far the distance is between you and the Origin Core realm. As expected, he was completely unfazed by your attack. On the contrary, you were sent flying, crashing to the ground in a miserable state. Ling Zi panicked, not good, the strength difference is too vast. Over here, they burst into laughter, just an Origin Foundation realm dares to take action against the Origin Core realm, truly unaware of life and death. Shi Xian coughed a few times, it seems you are completely outmatched. Suddenly, Shi Xian spoke up, hey, kid, if you don't come out, I will be beaten to death. Useless person, just an Origin Core realm has beaten you to this state, making your man-divine body truly disgraceful. If you didn't meddle in others' affairs, it wouldn't be such a hassle. You should solve the problems you create yourself. Not seeing uncle respond, you added, what's wrong? Surely you're not saying you can't fight him back. After saying that, you gritted your teeth and muttered, that annoying little guy, using a provocation strategy on me. Over here, he chuckled lightly, you guys kill that little guy, capture that girl for me. As soon as they heard this, they immediately shouted, understood. Then the two of them rushed towards Shi Xian. Little guy, go die. Ling Zi couldn't help but shout in worry, Lin Xian, hurry and run. At that moment, the little boy appeared, still leaving it to me to clean up for you, thanks to you. The little boy gathered his energy and performed the wind heaven spell. A tornado appeared, seemingly capable of sweeping everything away. They were stunned, what is this? Before long, they were caught in the whirlwind, tossed around inside it. They screamed loudly. Uncle gritted his teeth, with this whirlwind, such powerful magic cannot possibly be controlled by a little brat from the Origin Foundation realm. The little boy continued to charge forward, I will deal with him. The boy scoffed and approached him closely, which left him stunned. Where did this little brat come from? Immediately after, a strike was unleashed, go die. This left him bewildered, unable to react in time. Suddenly, Shi Xian spoke up, don't kill him. The little boy showed a look of annoyance, what a hassle. Then, he tightened his wrist to retract the move, and smiled lightly, you are really lucky to have saved your life. However, he then transmitted a type of spiritual energy into his body, then pushed him away, get away a bit. Watching him disappear, he muttered, don't come back here again. Then, he gently landed. The boy bit his lip tightly, alright, it's settled. I didn't expect you to break through to the Origin Foundation realm and still struggle like this, it's really embarrassing. After that, he transmitted some energy to Shi Xian. And from now on, handle small matters like this yourself, it will help increase your strength. Shi Xian hugged his chest and said softly, this is not a small matter. Over here, Ling Zi slowly opened her eyes amidst the thick dust. The smoke made her cough, cough cough. What was that whirlwind just now? Then, Ling Zi hurriedly ran over, Lin Xian, how are you? Are you hurt? Meanwhile, Shi Xian struggled to stand up, don't worry, I'm fine. She wondered, was that whirlwind caused by you? I thought I saw a child. He chuckled lightly, oh, there was no child, you must have seen it wrong. By the way, what did you say about the Tianji sect? She clasped her hands and quickly said, are you interested in my Tianji sect? That's great. If you're with us, we can seize resources from the sect to cultivate. Hearing this, you felt like you were struck by lightning, seizing resources. Ling Zi chuckled lightly, that's right, the Xiuzhen sects in the Zhenxian mainland are completely different from the Xiuzhen mainland of your brothers. The biggest difference is that disciples are allowed to develop freely. Then she gently closed her eyes, our sect regularly provides cultivation resources for the disciples, and then does not restrict their actions. As long as it benefits their cultivation, they can do whatever they want. If we join forces, we can definitely domineeringly control the Tianji sect. At that time, we can continuously seize cultivation resources from others. Shi Xian became confused, this is clearly the behavior of a demonic sect, robbing resources from fellow disciples, isn't that dishonoring the sect? Hearing this, Ling Zi laughed, it is precisely because of such a competitive mechanism that the overall strength of the Zhenxian mainland surpasses that of your Xiuzhen mainland by a level. Shi Xian thought to himself, now I can only find a safe place to retreat and cultivate, I have to go to the Tianji sect first. Suddenly, Ling Zi grabbed your hand, what are you hesitating for? Then she pulled you strongly, let's go back to the Tianji sect now. On this side, he struggled to get up, his body covered in wounds. Did you think it was over just like that? I remember you all well. Suddenly, a sword pierced straight into him. It turned out to be Qian Feng. He said, the little ant from Xiaojun mainland. Then, he glanced at them leaving. It seemed like Hualing Zi just now. He withdrew the sword. Who is the little guy next to her? But just now, it seemed that there was a tremendous force erupting within that little guy. There must be a secret hidden within him. He burst out laughing. Looks like I've discovered something interesting. At this moment, at Heavenly Net Dao Academy, Luo Er exclaimed in shock, a Xian has gone to the heaven-forbidden battlefield. Over here, Shanlan replied, yes, and moreover, my Xia family has also sent assassins there to hunt him. Why is that? Luo Er shouted, I want to go to the heaven-forbidden battlefield too. I have to find a Xian. To reach the heaven-forbidden battlefield, a teleportation array is needed. The Heavenly Net Dao Academy is now under the control of my Xia family. Even I can't get close to the teleportation array freely. You should abandon this thought. Then he left. With the relationship between you and Shi Xian, staying here will put you in danger. I have prepared a cave behind the Xia family mountain for you. It will be safer for you there. But then he turned around and said, you should have faith in that little guy. With his abilities, he will definitely survive. Luo Er's eyes were filled with sadness. A Xian. On the battlefield, the sky had darkened, and the full moon cast a faint light on the ground. Inside a small cave, a flicker of light appeared. It turned out that Shi Xian and another person were making a fire in the cave. Shi Xian spoke up, can you control the fire for a long time without any burning materials? She smiled brightly and pointed at the flame, of course, I am a cultivator specializing in fire magic. The fire in her hand seemed to dance, look. Then she shaped it into a heart, which surprised him, that's impressive. Then she wondered what kind of magic Lin Xian specialized in. He mumbled, what is my specialized magic? Then he chuckled and said, maybe it's specialized in martial arts. Indeed, there are high-level strong cultivators specializing in martial skills, but overall, specializing in martial skills will suffer quite a bit when facing strong magic of the same level. Hearing this, he agreed, you are right, I have also been thinking about practicing magic. Suddenly, a wave of attack from someone pierced through. Oh, this isn't good, she wondered. What's wrong? What happened? His expression was cold. Someone is approaching, extinguish the fire. Immediately, she waved her hand to extinguish it. Then, she gathered her energy, concealment formation. Instantly, a magic circle appeared and opened. Then the two of them sat inside the magic circle. This formation can hide our presence, we won't be detected. Suddenly, from above, pieces of stone began to fall. Ling Zi looked up and wondered, they're fighting outside. As soon as she finished speaking, stones kept falling, as if the cave was about to collapse. They shouted in panic, not good, the cave is collapsing. Just as they predicted, larger rocks continued to fall. Outside was a fierce battle, dirt and rocks flying everywhere. A man was struck by a wave of cultivation, causing him to scream in pain. Then, he fell heavily to the ground in front of his teammates. Seeing this, he gritted his teeth, damn it, I finally sensed Shi Xian's presence nearby, and now I encounter a strong anomaly. On the other side, Qian Feng mocked, you weaklings from the Xiaojun mainland should just give up resisting. His expression was cold. Stubborn resistance will only result in being annihilated. We've already suffered significant losses without finding that little guy Shi Xian. How can we report back to the family master? Then he shouted, all of you, go ahead and tear him apart. Seeing the crowd rush forward, Qian Feng merely smiled lightly. On this side, due to the impact of the battle, the ground continued to shake. Shi Xian's arm emerged from the ground amid the thick rubble. He struggled to escape from the debris. On this side, Ling Zi also tried to rise up. She was furious. Who is that bastard fighting? Suddenly, she became stunned, her pupils dilating. Qian Feng's hand pierced through his body, leaving him suspended in mid-air, continuously crying out. Qian Feng was pleased, my armor also needs to absorb some primordial energy. Before long, a stream of cultivation emerged and attacked him all over. Qian Feng's armor grew stronger, causing him to be drained of life force. On this side, Shi Xian said, the armor on him can absorb the life force of others. Ling Zi gritted her teeth, that person is Qian Feng, ranked third among the disciples of our Tianji sect inside sect. He was wearing a top-grade golden armor that could absorb life force to maintain spiritual energy during combat. Shi Xian chuckled lightly, if it's also from the Tianji sect, then we've found our comrades. However, Ling Zi looked worried, we should pray he doesn't discover us. He questioned, why? Looking at Qian Feng's body, she said, because we will all become energy for his armor. Meanwhile, he frowned tightly, his teeth clenched, indeed, it's demonic and heretical. Qian Feng's body had finished absorbing spiritual energy, and he laughed maniacally, not enough yet, I need much more life force. A panicked man rushed over, boss, what do we do? This guy is so strong it's monstrous. We are no match for him, but we can't let him look down on the cultivators from the Xiaojin mainland. Then he pulled out something, there's no choice now. His expression was smug, I'll use the top-grade divine weapon, the illusion-destroying book, that the family master gave me to deal with everything. They were worried, boss, are you crazy? If we do that, we'll all die together. As soon as he finished speaking, he was mercilessly beaten, get lost, you coward. He clenched his fist tightly. It's over, we absolutely will not embarrass Heavenly Net Dao Academy. Qian Feng felt confused, what is this? Immediately, he unleashed it, releasing a dense flow of spiritual energy that radiated an incredibly bright light. On this side, Ling Zi wondered, what is that? She was surprised to realize that this spiritual energy was a high-grade magic weapon. He raised his hand, and a large beam of light appeared, go die. That thing quickly charged straight towards Qian Feng. Next, the beam of light surged towards Qian Feng. Seeing the thick cloud of dust, she murmured, this is not good. The wind around howled incessantly, and the power of that thing was truly terrifying. The beam of light swept everything away like a tornado, towering as if it could pierce the sky. In the end, only a large pit remained, filled with gravel and stones. The two people, Shi Xian and the others, were still safe, but the dust was making them uncomfortable. Shi Xian gritted his teeth, fortunately, we are far away, otherwise, I can't imagine what would happen. Shi Xian was stunned and turned to ask, are you okay? On this side, Ling Zi lay flat on the ground, her body bearing several wounds. Seeing this, he was extremely worried. Fainted, huh? It seems the power of that last move was truly immense. He frowned in thought, but that guy, as he looked up, he saw that the man was still surrounded by a fireball, completely unharmed. He remained unscathed, floating in mid-air, and Qian Feng's body radiated a strange light. Suddenly, he was startled to realize someone was there. He waved his hand and said, hiding over there, come out. The attack quickly charged towards Shi Xian. He gritted his teeth, thinking, well, Ling Zi is unconscious, can't dodge, I have to confront it head-on. Then, he shot up into the air. Just as he took off, the attack landed, resulting in a massive explosion. On this side, he stared intently at the source of the explosion. He chuckled softly, looks like the two Hualing Zi acted too hastily. Then, a wave of attack rushed towards him, and he merely let out a soft, Shi Xian stood calmly, his feet firmly planted as he tried to gather his energy to counter him. He waved his hand in a circle, and spiritual energy appeared before him. However, after a moment, his body began to ache painfully. It hurt so much, Shi Xian looked down at his hand. Trying to hold on is still a bit exhausting. Over here, Ling Zi slowly opened her eyes. She bolted upright and said, I'm still alive. Shi Xian heard her voice and immediately turned back, you're awake. We're in trouble now. Her gaze was fixed straight ahead, where he was standing nonchalantly, Qian Feng. She frowned tightly, it seems we've been discovered. Ling Zi struggled to free herself from the rubble. This time, a fight is unavoidable, even though the chances of winning are very low. Meanwhile, Shi Xian also became anxious, I think he will show some consideration for fellow disciples and won't make things difficult for you. She chuckled softly, fellow disciples. That doesn't exist in our Tianji sect. By eliminating me, he can seize my cultivation resources in the sect. Over here, Qian Feng had already flown to their location. He stomped his foot on the ground, causing stones to scatter everywhere. He smiled lightly, Hualing Zi, long time no see. Ling Zi became flustered. The person you're looking for is me, let him go. However, his expression was extremely smug. Right now, I'm not interested in you, I came for the man beside you. Upon hearing this, Shi Xian was stunned. For me? We are not acquainted. Ling Zi's face darkened. I never expected Qian Feng, ranked third in the sect, to have this kind of hobby. He shouted, shut up, stop hiding, quickly hand over the secret you have on you. Shi Xian thought to himself, secret? Does he know I'm from the Su clan? No way, I haven't revealed any aura of the Su clan. Then he recalled, unless during the previous battle, that damn kid was discovered. He chuckled lightly, don't play dumb anymore, the thing inside you is probably a spirit beast or magic weapon you raised, hand it over and I won't make things difficult for you. At this moment, he also boldly replied, do you really want him? You better not regret it. Ling Zi then said, a true hero doesn't suffer losses in front of him, you should hand it over to him. After that, she became worried. Tianji's sect has many magic weapons and spirit beasts, I can say the master gifted you a bunch. In contrast to her, he was somewhat pleased, items related to one's own life cannot be easily given away. So important. He gently closed his eyes, what junior sister is still perceptive, hand it over and we will be friends from now on, in the future, Tianji's sect will have me to protect you. Seeing no one respond, his face darkened. Why isn't anyone talking? It turned out they had run away very quickly, leaving Qian Feng alone, confused as he looked at the dust cloud in front of him. He roared, damn it, how dare you play with me? Immediately, he jumped and flew up, shouting, stop right there. Suddenly, he realized something was strange. It turned out something had wrapped tightly around his leg, preventing him from moving. What is this? He shouted, where did this shape-shifting beast come from? Soon after, the shape-shifting beast immediately grew stronger, wrapping tightly around Qian Feng. He gritted his teeth in anger, damn it. Before long, it had formed a ball trapping him inside. Meanwhile, as they ran, Shi Xian asked, can that thing really hold him? Ling Zi replied, that shape-shifting beast is a spirit beast I raised since childhood. It has undergone enhancement spells, so even Qian Feng can't escape it for the moment. He smiled lightly, as long as we can hold him for half a stick of incense's time, we can escape from his sensing range. She bit her lip tightly, I hope so. On this side, the shape-shifting beast grew larger, with small spikes sprouting all over its body. Suddenly, its eyes became unusual compared to normal. It turned out Qian Feng had used his mechanical hand to attack it. Then, he tightened his grip in his hand. Before long, he had destroyed it and escaped outside. Qian Feng stood calmly, surrounded by the remains of the shape-shifting beast. Suddenly, a piece of its body fell straight onto his head. This made him roar in anger, Ling Zi, I will not spare you. Then he waved his hand, Earth Escape Technique, Earth Dragon. Just like that, a formation appeared, shooting a stream of cultivation forward. Wherever the attack went, the ground immediately cracked. It grew stronger and more violent, soon rushing towards the two Shi Xian. The attack quickly sent them all flying. Within a minute, everything exploded, dust and debris flying everywhere. Shi Xian gritted his teeth, it's the Earth Escape Technique, trying to trap us. Ling Zi, in pain, said, I forgot that Qian Feng is a cultivator specializing in the earth element. At this moment, the rocks rose up, seemingly wanting to enclose the two of them. That thing quickly came together, eventually forming a large round ball that trapped them inside. He raised his hand triumphantly, don't even think about escaping my five-finger mountain. Inside, the two of them stood observing the situation. Shi Xian was worried, we are surrounded by earth walls. Immediately, Ling Zi gathered her energy, Qian Feng has underestimated me. I, Ling Zi, rank among the top in the Tianji sect. Suddenly, a formation was activated, attacking the sphere, 10,000 spirit flame formation, break. A loud explosion occurred, flames blazed, and smoke spread out. However, afterward, it remained unaffected. Ineffective, Ling Zi continued to channel her energy, damn it, full power. Shi Xian stood beside her anxiously, stay calm. Her face was filled with rage as she shouted, I refuse to believe I can't break this pile of earth. Then, a large fireball was thrown directly upward, its light shining blindingly bright. Outside, signs of cracking began to appear. Seeing this, Qian Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. Hualing Zi, huh? Trying to break through my magic. With her current cultivation, it's still not enough. He then waved his hand lightly, up. The earth sphere was lifted high into the air. He moved closer, no movement.